it seems. Thanks to E-French Aves 0. Hello! Yes, that's right. It's me, Discourse. Here for another time, another day, another dollar. How is it going, everybody? Boy, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening lately, isn't there? Adepticon 2026 is happening this week, and it is absolutely crazy. And I gotta tell you, folk, I am not jealous at all of all the people who got to go to Adepticon in person and see all the new models and reveals and games all in person and get to touch them with their sticky hands. I'm not jealous at all about that. Not at all. Like, I mean, what? Just miss out on a massive convention all about wargaming and instead getting stuck inside the dark, cold wilderness of the Irish countryside with only wolves to keep me company? I know which one I prefer. Yeah, I'm really jealous. I hate being in Ireland sometimes because I would love to go to Adepticon right now. It seems like there is so much stuff happening, and I wanna let's peer in through the curtain. Let's creep up to the window in the snowy outside and peer in at everybody on the in front of the fireplace, enjoying the hymns. Yes, C.R. Smith, I am indeed live, and it's been a while, right? It's been a really long time since I last streamed. I keep meaning to come back, like, and return and bring my light to be the river to my people once again. But things just keep getting in the way. It's been really, really busy on my side of things. If anybody was watching the Roll for Combat stream, I was speaking with like Steven Glicker and stuff. I've been working on a miniature game with those guys, so that's been really busy. I've had a couple of irons in the fire, whatever an iron is. I don't know. I don't know what an iron in the fire is. Like, I think it's old school cooking utensils. Sierra Smith says, is she still rocking the Harley Quinn lipstick though? No, I'm really demure today. I'm really demure because it's a solemn occasion. Okay, there's a new edition has been announced, but for something new to live, something old must die. I think it was Mufasa who taught us that lesson in a very brutal way that changed me forever, very fundamentally. Weird Narrative says, did you watch it live? You think TW would be able to afford a working mic? Yes, so for those who don't know, there was a big massive reveal stream the Games Workshop did last night at like 1 a.m. my time. And I did actually get to see it live. I usually miss those because it's like 1 a.m. and that's my prime World of Warcraft rating hours. Am I right, folks? No, I'm kidding. Usually I'm just doing other stuff. So I usually miss them, but I did get to see it this time. I stayed up into the wee hours, and it was really interesting. So there was a lot of issues that plagued the live show, apparently, like actually getting to see the reveals for Warhammer 40k were kind of a bit rough in person because the audio issues were affecting the actual live show as well, so nobody got to hear a bunch of stuff that was being said. But you know, I forgive them. You know, these things happen. It's not exactly like I don't have technical issues every single time I try to go live on a simple live stream. Never mind one that's going out to thousands of people. So I'm not gonna lambast them for that. There are other things to lambast, but there's some stuff to celebrate as well. So that's kind of cool. E-French Aves 0 says she's in space. I am indeed in space. It's where I live, in space. But if you think about it, we all do. So we're gonna go over the reveals. We're gonna go over some stuff you might have missed as well, because I think there's some things that people really did miss. We're gonna talk about some other games too, because at Adepticon, it's wargaming, the hobby, right? It's the wargaming hobby. So we're gonna talk about wargaming in general today, because gosh darn it, that's just what we do here on Discourse Minis. We celebrate everything in the hobby, not just the Warhammers, though we are going to talk quite a lot about the Warhammers. And there is stuff to talk about, stuff that was missed. A lot of great models, but some other things too. Commander says, roads, where we're going, we don't need no roads. I would like a road, though. I would like a road. It would be lovely, because when you walk on a road, it's just a lot easier. If you've ever done cross trail hiking, it can be a little bit rough. New Battletech says spurious machinery. L-shaped dice says E-French Aves. Okay. A Peak in Perspective says, hey, saw Seth Karkowski's newest video on Delta Green, saw you in it. Yes, indeed. I'm in a game of Impossible Landscapes with Seth Karkowski as well as a couple of other people like Orcus Dorcas. It's a ton of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yes, indeed, you eagle-eyed viewer over there. CR Smith says, if I recall correctly, they announced a new orc Gorkanaut. Does look that way. Every single vehicle is an orc vehicle. This is a lesson that we all know. So let's just get straight into it, I think, because there's a lot to talk about. There's a whole ton of stuff to talk about. I'm very, very, very excited about it. I'm very excited about it. Now, okay, so I think at the top of the line, we have to acknowledge this is the 11th edition reveal stream. This is 11th edition of Warhammer 40k. I called it, but then kind of everybody did. Like, everybody knew that this was coming, right? Like, everybody knew that this was coming. Which, by the way, in my last video, I got a lot of shit for that. People are like, well, everybody knew. It's like, yeah, I know, but, I mean, what do you want me to do? Pretend like it's not happening? What's crazy to me, though, is just to put it into context. It is 2026. It was in 2023 that Warhammer 10th edition came out. Like, that feels like not very long ago. Heliodorus04 super chatted $5. Thank you very much, Helio. Says, a long time follower. Please try to say now as much as possible. The Irish accent and now make for my kind of ASMR. Well, I refuse to do so. I am not a monkey that will dance at your command, Helio. I'm not going to say now anytime soon. Not now, not ever. Okay, but thank you very much. I really do appreciate it all the same. And if you want me to say silly things, do not send me money to do so, because I will refuse, obviously. No, seriously though, I will say silly things for money. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. But yes, Maximus Derpiness says, Drukhari are the good guys. They prefer to let people live. And they give animal rights. They support animal rights. I agree, Maximus Derpiness. Dark Eldar are the... Okay, first of all, one, Dark Eldar are the good guys. Two, Dark Eldar should have been in the launch box, okay? I believe that they should have been in the launch box. They should have been on the launch box. Could have had some Kabbalite warriors. Some witch elves. Oh, kind of run out of models that they have. They got the transport. And they got the... They got the single tank that does damage that they have. There's a lot of stuff they could have done. They could have done a lot of stuff. Plus, they could have been in the list of box sets that come with female models, of starter sets that come with female models. It would have been 2 out of 11 now, I guess we're getting up to. Discord Samar, says CR Smith. Yes, indeed. Die Laughing says, I look forward to the new Guard Codex in 2029. I look forward to the new Guard Codex. And yeah, 2029, I think it must be. It's gonna have to be that, right? Although there's so many new models. For those who missed it, there's a lot of new models coming out for Imperial Guard. So maybe we're gonna see a brand new codex for them. Huh? Maybe, you know, like a new codex on top. With perhaps Steel Legion. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Battletech is getting its first revised rules in like 20 years, says Spurious Machinery. Battletech is getting revised rules? That is kind of one of those like Mayan calendar moments, you know? Where they saw it in the stars. Like, we should have been able to predict this. Quasimodo predicted all this. We should have known that Battletech would be getting its new rules. That's actually crazy, because the Battletech rules have been really consistent as far as I'm aware. I think, when did they bring in the more accessible rules that everybody can play, that everyone keeps telling me I need to play, because I released that one video like 4 years ago saying about why I don't like Battletech, and every single person and their mother, and I'm not kidding there was moms that reached out to me that have said, there is a version of Battletech that fixes all your issues with Battletech. Please play Battletech. So, and I haven't played it yet. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. When did that come out? That feels like a more modern iteration of Battletech. Heliodor says, I bought my first 40k new release in more than 10 years this week. The TIE Twin Lance. Those are some pretty cool models, to be fair. Those are very, very nice models. They are pretty sexy. Games Workshop have been releasing like really good models, especially if you kind of like diorama pieces, right? That they're very... they're not very posable or anything, but they make for great statues and look great on the board and in photography and stuff, and they just look really cool. Commander KHL says Dark Eldar, the real Eldar, enough said. That's very true. They're the norm. It's the craft world Eldar, who are the fringe weirdos. Those are the little creepy guys running around. Like, who didn't want to do enough hedonism to literally break all of space? Come on. Another co-op campaign, says Spurious Machinery. That's really cool. Ogreboy says, is someone only Warhammer adjacent? I'm surprised that Drukhari is an army choice. Well, they are. Oh, Jesus. I poked myself in the face. What is going on with Battletech, says Heliodorus. I keep seeing this changes everything clickbait, but is it just a new release? I mean, new releases often change everything. Okay, so, Alpha Strike, yes, very silent mouth. Mouse, Alpha Strike, yeah, that's... I would actually love to try Alpha Strike. I would actually love to check out Alpha Strike at some stage, get some Battletech going. It's one of those things where the models don't super appeal to me, but I have been getting increasingly into smaller scale miniatures, so it's only a matter of time before I'm gotten. It really is. Like, I've been really into Armored Clash for a while now, and that game fucking rocks, and it's very adjacent, I think, to Battletech in terms of its scale. Helio, I do almost puncture. To puncture your brain with a straw, you need to have a brain. Bronze Age Caveman, thank you very much for the $10 donation. Says, for the course, watch Bronze Age Caveman chicane. Is that chicane? Chicane like chicanery? Is that some sort of chicanery? Thank you very much for the donation. I really, really appreciate that. Krasno Ludskip, wow, 8303, which was an adventure to say that name. We all shall praise Votan under dwarf capitalist regime of James Workshop. It does feel that way. Is the British pound still technically called a pound sterling? Says C.R. Smith. Yeah. Yes, I believe. I go by Mighty Bush currency, which is the euro. So there we are. There we go. Did I see Guard get British armored cars from the 70s? Said Die laughing. Kinda. Well, to me. So, all right, let's look at it. Because I want everybody's. I think there's some lawsuits that can go down. That's right. We're talking law. We're talking law today. I think there's a legal lawsuit that can go down. Tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. So I think the Games Workshop are gonna get some letters from some lawyers. We're gonna go on to here. Okay. So I just want to get your guys' opinion on this. Okay. So here's all the new stuff. There's a ton of new Warhammer stuff. Let's look at this one here. So we're going to go through this. And I just want to know if you think that there shouldn't be a lawsuit that goes down, because I really do think there should be. First of all, we got Wazdaka Gutsmack. Again, I called it, but again, almost everybody did. Looking pretty cool. Looking pretty cool model. There is a lot going on here, I think. I hate, by the way, this new design of their website, because it feels like it's like intrinsically designed to annoy me in some capacity, because I can't, where do I go, you know? Whenever I zoom in, it like, what if I were to do, hold on, let me fiddle about, professional here, people. This is why I don't stream. I don't think I fixed it. I did not fix it. I made it worse. Oh my God. Okay, hold up. I got this. I'm grabbing everything but the... Speed Freaks rock. They do rock. Let me see if I can just... We're gonna do this, actually. So this is a new model. Looks pretty cool. His hand is a little bit small. A little small. But I do love the beaky Space Marine here. We can see. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. And, yeah, I think that the paint job really, really improves this model, because this just looks so good. So well painted. Whoever painted this did a really great job. But I love the bike and stuff, so it looks great. Absolutely a massive fan. A huge fan. So yeah, that's Wazdaka. Finally gotten a new miniature. I love his biker jacket. I love his little Gretchen on the back. That's just a ton of fun. There's a new Commissar Yarrick as well. I think they showed this before Adepticon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they showed this before Adepticon happened. Dan Brooks says, I think it's interesting what people become after studying for a legal degree, a bit like this course. Not everyone follows my path, nor would I recommend it. Please stay in law, for the love of God. There is like no money in this, you guys. Turns out, arguing for cheaper models, not the way to go. At all. Okay, now this is a big highlight for me. I actually think that this model looks absolutely fucking sick. Okay, this looks really good. I'm super positive today. So This is Commissar Graves. Cool name, by the way. Very cool name. I love this new vehicle. Let's open her up. Did not sound great. So this is the new, so this is a new vehicle called the Centaur. It's like a command version that she has here, and she's pretty much just turned it into a Judge Dredd car. Die Laughing says G-Dubs will be recruited soon. Yeah. For some reason, I'm not sure if I'll get that job. So this looks really cool. I really love this. There's like a command squad on top of a transport truck. They've got the heavy stubbers on the side. They got that weird German pickle helm kind of vibe to them. Absolutely love it. And Commander Grave, she has her foot up on, you know, on the kind of like on the balcony, on like the kind of like the railing there. It just looks sick. I think it's really, really awesome. And Skaven Matt says it was AI auto unpaid intern 327 on this GW issued iPad. That's fair. Yeah, so this looks, that's really cool. Yep, the poses of it and all the sides look great. I actually think that the Graves model, I think her like non-vehicled version look fantastic as well. I really like this. It's the first tactical rock I've ever seen that I thought, yeah, looks good. Great tactical rock here. So I'm a big fan of that. I love the new Inquisitor as well. It looks like a Warhammer Fantasy Empire model. Yeah, Die Laughing says it's to drive me closer so I can hit it with my sword pose. It 100% is. That is exactly it. She's got her best, safest foot forward there, says Skaven Matt. Yeah, she does. That's what you gotta do, you know? That's what you gotta do when you're driving into the enemy. But I think I love this Inquisitor Croyle guy. I think he's so good. So for the longest time, we've been seeing Inquisitors who I think are too competent, honestly. They're too competent. On this Inquisitor Croyle is our first look at what I think a lot of Inquisitors actually are. This guy is basically doing the space equivalent of just playing golf. Just going out, hanging out, playing golf, you know. He is on Space Safari, just killing Xenos for no good reason. He's just hunting Xenos. He's a Xenos Inquisitor, but he's not like studying them. It doesn't seem like he's not doing anything useful about it. He's just going out and killing all the Xenos he finds. Like he's like a big game hunter. And in fact, actually, this Iliad that he's riding right now is the last of its species. So that's fun. I think that's really cool. I think I love this model. I really do. It really reminds me of like an Empire model from Warhammer Fantasy, but 40k-ified, and I think some of the best old school designs look like that. I just think this is super cool. I'm a big fan. CR Smith with the very hot take saying, Commissar Yarrick should have stayed dead, died of old age, surrounded by friends and family. Graves could have been Yarrick's great-granddaughter or something. Well, they sort of did that with, what's his face? Come on, I know this. You know, the big general guy. Help me out, chat. Help me out. Help me out. They did that with another named character, and it kind of works for Imperial Guard, right? Because the time period's meant to move forward so far. Like, it doesn't move very far in terms of, like, you know, 40,000 years, but in terms of a human lifespan, that even enhanced in Warhammer 40k terms, which is like a couple hundred years, it still moves past that period. So you end up getting generational characters who are the children of a previous character. Creed, yeah, they did it with Creed. They did with Creed. There is the daughter of Creed is now that character. They could have done the same thing with Yarrick. I like Yarrick. I think Yarrick's a really fun character. To me, though, Yarrick was never like this big, huge, massive thing. But then none of the named characters were this big, massive named thing. Because for me, my character, like, I started playing Guard in like 4th edition. So for me, it was all about the generic command squad is what I had. I had the company command squad. That was my named character because I named them. And I had all the little officers and stuff. So that's the stuff that sticks with me. That's like the nostalgia that I want. And unfortunately, they've killed the kind. Well, no, actually, I think the company command squad's still in the game, no problem. But they got rid of the squad structure, the whole company organizational chart. Dan Brooks says, I'm glad to see Yarrick back again. Not that I'll be getting him. I think he's a cool model. I think he's neat. I think it's important for Guard to have some named characters who are still pretty big and cool. Yarrick was a 2-pound metal brick. That is very true. Yes, Alabastro, he does indeed have Spanish Empire vibes, doesn't he? He's like on a he's a conquistador. Yeah, for sure. Then we have a very controversial character. I think the first canonically transgender character in all of Warhammer 40k. Very nice. This is Inquisitor Karamazov, obviously. Come on, right? Like this is Inquisitor Karamazov. The exact same pose, the exact same look, like pointing in the exact same direction. Because I was looking at this earlier. These are the same models. So this is a new Sisters of Battle model. And let's see. I think she's pretty much designed to replace. So I think she is designed to replace this guy here, basically. Because it's the exact same thing. It's just different weapon. Okay, her arm's slightly out to the side, but she's pointing in the exact same direction. Come on. So I'm not 100% sure about this model. I'm not like the biggest fan. I always liked Karamazov, but I liked him more in theory than in practice because I always thought his Throne of Judgment was a bit static looking. But it looks more squat, you know? And I think that helps it. And it has like a couple little guys, like little scribe and stuff on the side. And I always thought that was kind of cool. Whereas with the Sister of Battle, I think it's too tall. I don't know. It just feels like it's a walking platform. It looks so unsteady. Like she would just fall off at the first opportunity. I don't know if it would work. Yeah, I don't know. But, you know, a new Sister of Battle model, I guess that's always nice. I do like Sisters of Battle. The problem is I don't like the mech suits for Sisters of Battle. It's like my least favorite part of the entire army, and I think this character is designed to play into the mech suits and stuff. So I'm not the biggest fan of that at all, really, to be honest. I don't really like this model, but you know, I hope some people do. At least. What does everybody else think about it? It's always the Inquisitor, says Commander HHL. Bronze Age says, Cortez was my childhood hero, right along with Joe Namath. He burned his own ships for crying out loud, put himself on death's ground. So, is that what Arthas's story was based on in Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne? The burning... Because there's a moment... Does anyone else remember that? Am I crazy here? There was a moment in Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne, the acclaimed expansion for Warcraft 3, Reign of Chaos, one of the best RTS games ever made in the early 2000s, where Arthas, having brought his men to the roof of the world, to Northrend itself, to hunt down the Lich King, Mal'Ganis the Dreadlord, who has turned his people into zombies, who has wrecked and ruined his lands, and destroyed all that he loved. And in his quest for vengeance, he seeks to destroy Mal'Ganis. He brings his army to the frozen north. And there, he is commanded by the king to return. He's the king who's been convinced by Dalaran and wizards and spy masters and all sorts to return Arthas back to Lordaeron. And Arthas, as a paladin, refuses to give in. He refuses to turn back. And so he does the unthinkable. He burns the ship to the ground and he strands them all, literally, in the evil North Pole. And it's this kind of moment where he kind of turns because he gets mercenaries and gets them to burn the ships. Then he blames the mercenaries and all his men kill the mercenaries. It's like super dark. It's super dark. It's like part of the moment. Spoilers, but Arthas turns evil by the end of it. He gets absorbed. His soul is absorbed by an evil sword. Anyway, is that what that's based on? Is it based on Cortez? Because that would be badass if it was. I didn't know that. Yes, Krasno says Cogfort equal Warcraft 3 human tower. I 100% agree with you, by the way. I made the exact same observation. And I will be doing a video kind of covering these releases, and I made the exact same observation. Because it's identical, right? It's from Art of War, says Broad Age Caveman. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess, moving on. Yes, okay, so, Games Workshop, we're gonna get sued. Games Workshop, we're gonna get sued. And this is why. This here. Okay. Let's have a little look at this. Okay, right, you'll see this. You see this model? Have a little look at this model. It's the new Imperial Guard model. It's called the Centaur RSV. But I discovered something. I found something out, people, because, okay, check this out. I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna blow your mind. It's gonna, you're all gonna lose your mind. You're gonna see exactly what I see. In 1 second, then you'll see why Games Workshop are gonna get sued. It's gonna happen. It's gonna any second now. You'll see. I'm keeping you on tenterhooks for a good reason. For a good reason. All right, behold. Okay, behold. This is why Games Workshop are going to get sued. Here we have the Games Workshop model. Boom! Guys, this is on Warlord Games' website. And this has been out for, like, ages. For ages. Well before Games Workshop. Oh, yeah. I think that the sculptors of Games Workshop have been copying Warlord Games. Look, it's undeniable. It's undeniable. I think Warlord Games need to send a cease and desist letter to Games Workshop lawyers right now. Get this shut down, because I think this is just too uncanny and weird. Look, the half track. Look, it's identical. Behold. Got him. I'm telling you, got him. So, yeah, this is the U.S. Army starter set. You can find this. This was created by Warlord Games, so I think it's time to send some letters. What do you guys think? What do you think? So, the image sculpt of the M3 half track cannot be copyrighted, says Heliodorus. Maybe, maybe. Yep. So obviously, yes, this is the M3. This is the M3 half track. Games Workshop have clearly, and I think they've been doing it for a while now, they've been taking World War II designs and basically Imperial Guardifying them, you know? And I've seen some complaints about this, actually. Some people have been complaining about it. And I think that's fine. I actually think that's fine. I don't agree with any of the complaints. I actually like the design of the new releases. So they've shown the Centaur RSV. This is the open top transport, and then the copyright scandal gets even worse. Here's the Hippogriff AFV, and this is clearly a well, actually this one's a little bit more complicated. I think this one is a combo of two different things. I think this is a combo of the Saladin tank. Here you can see that it's kind of got that edge, but also the Puma tank. Like, it's got the kind of profile and the forward turret of the Puma tank, and it's got the kind of elongated back there, is what it looks like to me. And both of them look awesome. And obviously, yes, Warlord Games cannot sue Games Workshop for basing their designs on a World War II release, but I think it would be funny if that happened. Heliodorus, thank you very much for the $10 donation. Says, I'm a World War II historian. We got an expert. We got an expert. Says that GW Centaur looks like a lot of half tracks, because half tracks all kind of looked alike, except for the German ones, because Germans like sexy looking vehicles. That is very true. I've got quite a few of the German half tracks. The SDFKZ number, and they had like 330 different fucking versions of them. But that is really cool. You're a World War II historian, actually. That's a really awesome job. Thank you very much for the donation. I didn't know that all the half tracks look kind of similar, but I did know that I feel like, to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but the M3 half track is actually kind of iconic to that World War II period of time. I do love it. Heliodor says, I would not put it past GW to sue someone for that kind of copyright violation, though. Yeah, there is a world, right? There is a world. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This isn't me being like making up windmills to then chase at, right? But there is a world where Games Workshop release the Centaur RSV into the wild. Like, they release this, and then 1 year, okay, already, probably, like in a couple of months, there are STL files of M3 transport trucks that are kind of like the Centaur, and Games Workshop's going to cease and desist the shit out of them. Or there's going to be like third-party like M3 transport trucks. The Games Workshop, is this their plan? Is this their scheme to like capture the World War II market as well? I mean, they did it with Space Marine shoulder pads. What's to stop them? What's to stop them? More tracks, less wheels, please, says Die Laughing. Well, actually, I think the Centaur has got just enough wheels. I think the wheels are pretty good. I like the wheels in this. So if you remember the other game, what do you call it? The other transport. Let's go to warhammer.com. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's go to Warhammer 40k, and then we go to Armies of the Imperium. Then we drop down to the Astra Militarum, and we can look for it here. Let's find it. Let's find it, because this is what you want. Whether or not you want it or not, this is what you're saying. And this is what I don't want. Where is it? Where is it? Oh my goodness. Oh, here it is. The Taurox. Yes, the Taurox. To me, I hate this model. I think this model could look really, really cool if there was wheels here instead of two tracks. I just don't like the double tracks. Or even if there was two wheels, like if it was just wheels all the way around, if there was no tracks at all. I think going all in on the tracks is too much. So I prefer this design where it is in fact a half track. I think that's really, really cool. French Ave says the Centaur looks like it was made for the company across the street from them. I think Games Workshop were copying someone's homework. I'm sorry, I just love the idea of like really ragging on Games Workshop for creating historically inspired miniatures, but it feels very on the nose. But I think they look cool. I'm actually a big fan of these, and I did not expect to see so much stuff at Adepticon. I didn't think there would be so many reveals at Adepticon. Now, my one concern with the Centaur is I just don't really know where it fits in the operational doctrine of the Imperial Guard, right? Like, because this is kid, it'd be different if like the Steel Legion, say the Steel Legion regiment happened, you know, to use the Centaur or something, you know, for the mobility of the thing, for the open top nature of it. But I don't know where this fits, because we've already got the Chimera and like the Salamander, so I don't know, did we need another transport? I don't know. It's another model to sell us. It looks pretty cool, so I guess that's kind of all the reason that they need. I presumably asks, how excited are you? I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited. I'm not so excited to find out the price of some of these, but I'm generally speaking pretty excited. I love the Hippogriff AFE. I do love it. I'm a big fan of the Puma tank, so I love this thing. And I have been begging Games Workshop for a while now. So this is evidence that begging does work sometimes. It does work sometimes, people. You know, sometimes your life is spared when you just kowtow enough. But I've been begging for a light tank for the Imperial Guard since forever, because I really like them. And the tendency for Imperial Guard was to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But bigger is not always best. Sometimes it's all about the motion of the ocean. And with the Hippogriff, we're getting some motion. We're getting some motion in that ocean. Let me tell you, it's a big old gun and a tiny package. I like it. I like my small kings. I think it looks sick. I'm a really big fan of this. It looks really mobile and small. Like, this pretty much would replace a Space Marine, right? Like, I mean, this pretty much would replace a Space Marine. Krasno Let's Keep Wowwar 8303 says, Taurus looks like the French transport from Bolt Action, but he has censored the word French for some reason, so I don't know. It looks like there's an issue there. Heliodor says, I think the Centaur body looks very much like the MRAP, and then they threw on an M3 chassis on it. And this is the expert. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this little tiny tank. I do like it. And they showed new books, which less excited for. I don't know. I just think that I can't help but be cynical about the Armageddon books. I used to love things like the city fight books, for example. They used to do the narrative city fight books, and I thought they were a lot of fun. But with these, like there's detachments in here, so you're buying sort of physical rules, which I think they should be PDFs. I'm not sure if they come out in PDFs, but they probably should be. I don't know, like, I don't even know what the hell this book... What do these have? So, the tale of Yarick's return to Armageddon and the desperate fight against Wazdaka Gutsbag Speedwa is told in Armageddon, the return of Yarick, the next major expansion of Warhammer 40k Armageddon, split into 3 books containing a decorative slipcase. So you get all new rules and background lore. You get a booklet of 6 new vehicle-focused detachments, 2 each for the Astra Militarum, Orcs, and Space Marines. Couldn't leave the Space Marines out. Couldn't leave those guys out. Admittedly, they were fighting in Armageddon. And you get the Armored Gauntlet book. So it's a rule supplement that encourages player to field as many tanks, monsters, and war machines as possible. Okay, I guess. I mean, sure. I don't know. I'm not, like, super hyped for it. I think this is a cool little box. I think I don't have... This would work for me in terms of... I don't have any of these models. I've got the Guardsman. But the God, what is this called? The Rogaldorn. The Rogaldorn, you know, the 2 little light tanks, this big old M3 transport and stuff. I could go for those, but it's really funny because they say that there's battalions. Is this a battalion? Yeah. Okay, so here's our new battalions. Okay, here's our new battalions, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the battalions. Do they work? Do they not? Okay. Oh, hold on. My chat has frozen. My chat has frozen. What's going on? Okay, I fixed it. I've just missed all the super chats. Okay. So, here we go. It's got truck written all over it. Come on, boys. We got work to do. And don't forget your spanner, says Dan Briggs. Yeah. Every vehicle is an orc vehicle. Again, it's true. So we've got this battalion, which is a single squad of Repentia, a single squad of the Kill Team sisters, which are like the scouty kind of trainee sisters, and 3 robot suits, and a Palanite. We have a single squad of Death Watch, and a plane, and a car, a bike, and some helicopters for the orcs. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like this is a battalion. This feels, honest to God, this feels like a 55-pound combat patrol box. You remember the old, or the start collecting boxes? This is a start collecting box. This is literally a 55-pound start collecting box to me. Am I wrong here? I feel like this is wild. Like these are less than the combat patrols, right? But they're calling these battalions. And battalions are meant to be like the big, massive boxes, I thought. Stephen McGrath says the new guard box should be a regular stock item. I totally agree. I 100% agree. Should be... Honestly, there should be way more bundles. They should be permanent ones, so there's not FOMO, on them. And... they should be cheaper, to be frank. Like, they really should be. And they used to be a lot cheaper. And I'm not going like back into the olden days, I'm talking like 4 years ago. Yeah, they're battalions, apparently. This does not feel like battalions at all. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this at all. But it's a lot of reveals. I think overall it was a great show for 40k. At least in terms of model reveals, I think it was really good. The big disappointment was 11th edition's reveals, I think. Oh, that's right, we're not even done. Because they did some other reveals too. They showed some stuff off on Kill Team. So we got this big old Predator Red Terror Tyranid. So this thing's pretty cool. And it's going to be like a big boss character in the new Kill Team box. Basically, where it's going to be this thing versus Guardsmen. It's gonna be this thing versus a bunch of guardsmen. Whoa! I think I know this guy. I think this guy. I think he lived near me a couple of years ago. So yeah, let's see the new ones. Cause okay, there is a Spectre Squad kill team in this new box and a big massive Tyranid monster. The Spectre Squad are cool. They're Cadians, which was a surprise to me. I was expecting them to be Catacan. I really was expecting them to be Catacan. And they look pretty sweet. They look pretty cool. They have a wide variety of weapons, which I do like. Honestly, I kind of wish this was the Gene Stealer cult team. The grenades, the guns. I love this RPG, the Heavy Gunner. Big fan of that. I wish there was an RPG team for Gene Stealer cult. This is something I've been asking for forever. So maybe we'll get it. Skaven Matt says, yeah, they went for an original model for the Tyranids finally, the Red Terror. They have never done one of those before. Oh, wait. Ha! Got him. This is, these are really cool. I actually really like these models. Look at this guy. He's like recording. He's like, is that an eyeglass or is that him recording something? I think that looks cool. And then we have the guide with a little map and a trooper. So, a lot of 40k stuff. A lot of 40k stuff. And we're not even done. We're not even done yet. Whew. Not even done. We're not going to do Age of Sigmar stuff just yet. Ah, hell. We'll do it before we... Because we got to talk about 11th edition, right? Like, we have to talk about it. But let's first talk about the new Cities of Sigmar stuff. Kitty and influencer. Yeah. Hey guys! Here I am! On the death planet of Catacan. Trying out the local the local hotspots. Dressed like the rebels on the moon of Endor. Am I right? That's exactly what I said. Yes. Thank you. All I could get was the reminder of Leia on Endor. I was like, this looks like Leia. Sarah Smith says, honestly, GW could cut their prices by half or more and still make a crap ton of money. They sure could. There is definitely a number they could definitely make cuts. Like, it doesn't even have to be like drastic, but they could certainly reduce the price of stuff. And certainly, and there's definitely areas where they could reduce the price more to make bigger. Like, look, people are always like, they gotta make money. But if you look at their Combat Patrol, the Hatchet Combat Patrol magazine, or the new Spearhead one, like, they're selling sprues for like £6, £7 of 10, 20 clan rats for this, you know, for entire squads of infantry for like £7. And to an extent, right, these magazines are going to be loss leaders. They are designed to get people interested, you know, in the hobby and wargaming and trying it out, seeing that it's something for them. But it goes to show that Games Workshop can do that when they want to. And I think that they should be more willing to do that. And I think they should be more willing to present more opportunities for consumers, for gamers, for hobbyists to get savings. And if one of the ways they want to do that are bundles, I'm not against that. But I wish that the bundles would present really good savings, because it used to be that way. It used to feel that way. But the bundles for Warhammer stuff has just been getting so anemic. It's been getting worse and worse and worse. Like, even the bundles are starting to look not worth the price, right? That's crazy. Like, that's crazy. It's wild to me. It's so frustrating. Like, am I right? Am I wrong here? Am I wrong? Like, sometimes I feel like I'm just... People look at you like you're crazy sometimes when you say, hey, maybe the price could be a little bit cheaper. As if we have to just accept it, you know? As if we should just accept it as a consumers, as fans. It should just be something that we accept. I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Skaven says, we've been pronouncing it Chan for like 30 years. It's nice hearing how you guys pronounce it. Catacan. I say Catacan. Catacan. My first Dark Eldar Raider cost £12. Says Die Laughing. The olden days. I remember when the Imperial Guard went up first. It was terrifying. So yeah, we have to get to it. It is indeed. It's the Warcraft 3 tower. Human tower. The Arrow Tower, specifically. In miniature form. This is the Cogfort. So Games Workshop did a massive amount of reveals for the Age of Sigmar players as well. Specifically the Cities of Sigmar players. And boy, did they cook. Look at this thing. This is absolutely crazy. It's huge. This is a huge centerpiece model for the Cities of Sigmar. And it looks great. Like, it really does look great. Whether it's to your taste or not, I think this is a beautiful, beautiful sculpt. Very well detailed in the right ways. In the sense that, you know, the walls are look like contrast will take to it really well. Plenty of, like, wood and kind of engravings into it. I think contrast paint will work on really well. I just think this looks fantastic, and it's the type of model you'll want to spend time on, to spend a little bit more time on. Yeah, yeah, this is as stupid a model as GW has ever conceived of, but I am so here for it. Sigmar's Walking Castle. So the thing I love about this, though, is that it's customizable, right? So you have this iteration of it. This is the version with the giant cannon on it. That's kind of more of a long-ranged version. And then you get this version, which is the flamethrower version. This is the assault version. So it has a big old flamethrower, and I love the bellows. I love the bellows on the back. I was watching a pipe organ, a mechanical pipe organ play this morning, and it had like a big bellows like this. I absolutely love this. So they blow out the air and it lights up in flames. I think that's great. I think that's so funny. It's so ingenious. And then I think this one, or the flamethrower one, it comes with like a... It has like a ramp as well, like a big gate that opens up and allows people to assault into fortifications, they were saying. So that looks really cool. And this here... Like, look at the detail on this thing. You can see the crew. So I'm guessing you don't need to have it built with the roof on. You can have the roof off. And you can see, like, the crew in here are loading up this cannon. And they got these little soccer balls, it looks like they're throwing in. These little footballs. And they're pumping it into the cannon. It looks so cool. Die Laughing says, needs an Imperial captain standing on top waving a sword. It does. It does. It's got the Gatling guns, and the engine staff. It's got it does have a guy with a sword. There is a guy with a sword. Someone with bombs throwing them off the side. A bunch of guys with bombs thrown off the side and shooting pistols. And you have the assault ramp. It looks like it can come down or go up. That's so cool. This might be one of the most impressive models Games Workshop have made in a really, really long time. Reco 5 Gear says the average person considers wargaming to be a prohibitively expensive because of Games Workshop's pricing. It's shooting out any interest in the hobby as a whole. What do you think? Can we get a let's see, can we do polls? Am I allowed to do polls in this? Oh, I can start a poll. Wow. Yes. Oh. Let's start the poll. Let's do it. Okay, hold on. Yes or no? There could be no maybes. How long does it last for? I've got the poll up there, so you can. We're gonna come back to that because I'm really interested in people's thoughts on whether or not Games Workshop's pricing is prohibitive and scares people away from the kind of broader wargame hobby. I'm really interested in that. Something I go back and forth on all the time. And speaking of which, this model's going to cost a lot of money. This is going to be a very expensive model. It's a really impressive miniature. It looks like a huge centerpiece. I don't know how big it is, but it's going to rival some of the biggest models in Age of Sigmar. And so it's going to be very, very expensive. I'm really curious to see the price point of it, though, because I have no idea where they're going to put it. But it does look great. And also, they've done a great job, I think, of making a miniature here that people are going to want to build entire armies around. And then they have made it a regiment of renown, so anybody can. You can take it into any army, basically. You can take it into any army, it looks like. But this wasn't the only thing showing off. Oh, I love how this one actually has a different paint job. So it's got like the red brick. That's really cool. I dig that. I reckon it costs as much as a Mega Gargant, says E French. Maybe. I think it could be more. I think it could be more. There's so much going on with it. It's about 45 cents worth of hips, so GW would charge $265 at least, says Skaven Matt. Yeah. It'll probably be a couple of sprues, but honestly, I mean, most of the pricing I think they just put into because of the design and the sculpts. Erasmus Zahn then was also shown off, the Enlightened one. This looks like a kind of a fine model, I think. He's got a weird little animal. I think he's meant to be like a human who's been taught by the elves and he got too good at learning. Yeah, he's alright. Doesn't really push any buttons for me. I'm not sure about the helmet, but a nice enough looking model. I just can't imagine painting this much white. It would just be too much for me and I would freak out. It would destroy me. It would destroy me fundamentally as a human. But here we go. Okay, this is, hold on. I want to scroll back up. You didn't see it. You didn't see anything. Okay. What if I were to tell you that I think this might be one of Games Workshop's best model? Not this one here, not this battle mage. I'm saying about the upcoming in a second. I want to prepare you. I think this might be Games Workshop's best ever model. And it's not going to be the model you think it is. It's not going to be the model you think it is. Okay. Right. So, we got 2 new wizards for Cities of Sigmar. Number 1, I am stealing one of these for my Empire army. And it is not the Amethyst Shadow Mage. Now, let's look at him first, because, or them first, I don't know. Is it a man? Is it a woman? I don't really mind. So, this is a really cool model. I do like the idea of it. This is a shadow wizard. Apparently they hear the whispers of the dead 24/7. So they have these little skeleton guys that gong on the helmet, basically creating what is effectively a steampunk version of white noise. It's a white noise machine, constantly banging, so they can't hear the whispers of the dead, which is kind of cool. I do like that. I do think that. And Games Workshop, I gotta say, this is probably their best face sculpt they've ever done. I don't know if it's just the paint job enhancing it, but this face sculpt, they've come a really long way from, like, what, 2010? This is great. This is a fantastic looking face sculpt. But it's not the best they've ever done, I don't think. It's a little bit too cartoony for me. I think the candle's a little bit too big. You know, to each their own. But I actually love this wizard. It's a little bit basic. I love this. I think this is great. It's the first ever Pyromancer wizard model that I've seen from Games Workshop that I've really truly loved. I really like this. Cities of Sigmar have goofy faces, says Kraz. Yeah, they do. They do. They do. I really like this. I think this model looks great, and I'm probably going to steal it and put it inside my Empire army for Warhammer Fantasy. I really love it. I think these look great. I'm less of a fan of these. These are the Gate Gargants. They're impressive in the sense that they're big ol' chungus people, but I don't know. I think I don't like the way that they have like these gate doors. I know that's kind of their whole vibe, but I think they'll look weird whenever there's just one of them, or they're like somewhere else, like they've moved. I don't know, like on the table. It feels like this works in a photograph, but I'm not sure if it works on the table. Not looking great for Games Workshop's pricing in the poll right now. I think there is a lead that's developing. What do you think of these models? What do you think of these models? They're kind of just like iterations of the model that we'd seen before. We've seen like one with the Gargant, I think with a guy with a rifle. So this was just kind of an iteration of that. The gunner's nest on the back of them always looks so weird because I'm pretty sure the person in this little thing would just fall out. The second that the Gargant like moved slightly, they would just fall, I feel like. So Commander HSL says death by a snoo. I've heard that one before. I'm not on Futurama. Then we got some terrain. So I don't know, it looks kind of fine, but I've got an FDM printer now, so terrain is less exciting for me. I can just print. There's so much terrain I can print out. I'm printing out a samurai fortress as we speak. That is so impractical, and I'm never going to use it, but I want it. You can't see it, but they actually have a seatbelt on that gun nest, says C.R. Smith. I think I've seen that in the other one, and I do get that, but it just feels like they wouldn't be able to accurately use their guns at all. It's a little bit silly. Then we have Jorvan Creel, Heir of the Kraken. This guy looks like that if Cities of Sigmar was going to continue to have the old identity that they used to have, which was being this kind of like multi-racial, diverse series of cities where there were dwarves and elves and men and dark elves and all manner of creatures all kind of living in these cities under the umpets of Sigmar. And they were, you know, they had this like mixing, melting pot. And if that was kind of the vibe of them, I have a feeling like this character would be a dark elf, right? Like this would be a dark elf, this character. But they're not. This character is a human. This character is a human. And I think the reason for that is because they're kind of stepping away from having dwarves and elves and men all in the one army. I think they're going all in on men. They're doing a Saruman, which you might not have known this. The reason why Saruman hates Gandalf so much is that Gandalf is always pissing around with the elves and the hobbits and stuff, where Saruman put all his trust and faith into man. You know how that turned out. We all know how that turned out. That's right. The Industrial Revolution in Middle-earth happened really, really early. So maybe we all should have had more faith. But anyway, I feel like they're going all in on man for the Cities of Sigmar, basically. Because everything we've seen so far has been like, okay, there's been Gargants, but it's man on Gargants. It's people. There's another human there, and the Cogfort, right? Like, is a big, massive human kind of thing. So they're going all in on humans, making it very steampunky and stuff. So it's just a different vibe, I think, from the older versions of Cities of Sigmar. I don't know if it's bad. It's just a different vibe. It's just a different vibe. So it's interesting to me that this is a human, right? Because it's got like, he's got all the air marks and the heirloom kind of sigil and stuff like that of the Kraken Lord, who was a dark elf. C.R. Smith says, puts all their faith into man. I learned not to do that back in high school. No wonder they're losing. Man on Gargants. Now that's a different expansion, says Confused. Yes. We're going to end the poll soon. So if you do not think the Games Workshop's pricing is scaring new hobbyists away, now is your time to say no. Oh, and this model. I love this model. This is Malice Forge Priest. This is a warrior priest model. I absolutely love this. I love this pose. I love this stance. He's like, give me Sigmar and my body is yours. You know, it's that pose. It's so good. I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this. This is a great one. I'm probably gonna get this model for my like Warhammer Fantasy Empire army. The only problem I have with the Cities of Sigmar stuff is that it's a little bit too big. It's really out of scale with a lot of my my Landsknecht stuff, because that's what a lot of my Warhammer Fantasy Empire stuff is Landsknecht from Warlord Games. And then my Landsknecht is a little bit smaller than my Empire stuff from like back in the day when I bought it in like the 2000s, my first Warhammer Fantasy army. And then that stuff is a little bit lower, it's a little bit too small for the Cities of Sigmar stuff. So there's like 3 levels of like the scale being off. So it's okay whenever it's like the old Warhammer Fantasy Empire things with the Cities of Sigmar stuff, or it's the Landsknecht stuff with the old Warhammer Fantasy stuff. But the Cities of Sigmar do not mix as well with the Landsknecht stuff. It's just really, really out of scale. So, but I love this model so much that I'm probably going to get it anyway, because I can't help myself. Does it have a rock or helmet options for standing on? No, I'm afraid not. I think it's just a rock. Another tactical rock. They do love them. And then we got the Free Guild Gallant. Man, this was like a... This was like a really big day for humans, wasn't it? It was like a really big day for humans. And not like the humans at Adepticon, but the, like... the like just the human race, right? Because we had a bunch of Imperial Guard stuff in 40k, and a bunch of Cities of Sigmar stuff as well. And that was kind of most of that was like the main things. So we got these free guild gallants. Now, I think these gallants are sort of intended to replace the great swords. They're sort of intended to replace the great sword units, which they're going to be missed. The great sword units look really cool. I think they look a bit cooler than these models. These models look fine. I think these models are interesting. I like the idea of sword and board models, you know, with the heavy plate, and they've got the big shields and stuff. I think that's cool. And honestly, Cities of Sigmar as an army, because that's who I play. I use my Empire army to play Cities of Sigmar and Age of Sigmar. I do think that Cities of Sigmar could really use an anchor unit that is not cavalry, that isn't cavalry. So I'm really glad to see these. Hopefully they are good in the game, but because they're Cities of Sigmar models, they're probably not going to be. Probably going to be horrible. Then we got the Free Guild Grenadiers as well, which are like, they're kind of neat. They've got big glaives, they've got rifles, no grenades, it seems like though, which is funny. Honestly, I really like Cities of Sigmar as the human race. They are so much better than the Golden Dudes, have a lot more characters, says Alan Wong. I totally agree. I actually think that it's kind of like the Space Marine Imperial Guard thing, where I think that the Sigmarines, they could have been, you know, the Stormcast Eternals, they could have been better used, I think, as a sort of ancillary to the Cities of Sigmar as opposed to being their own main faction. But so it is, and I think that the Cities of Sigmar are getting more of a spotlight because we don't have the same distribution issue that we have in Warhammer 40k, right? With Warhammer 40k, Space Marines make up like 90% of all the purchases, so everything is about Space Marines. In Age of Sigmar, I think it's way more balanced. I think you see way more diversity in the factions as a result. I think that's why a lot more factions in Age of Sigmar kind of eat well. Like, I collect Skaven. It's my only real Age of Sigmar specific army. No, I've got some Hedon Knights of Slaanesh as well. And I have an Empire army. And I find that, you know, Hedon Knights of Slaanesh less so much, but Skaven been getting tons of new releases for this release. So that's been really nice. And in comparison, the Stormcast Eternal they haven't been getting like a whole ton of stuff. Nos Big Damus says, what's at his feet? Oh yeah, those little guys. Yeah, those little creatures. E-French says, I forgot the name, but these are inspired by medieval folios. They're just little grubby critters. Yeah, apparently it's part of the magic of order. They just kind of spontaneously start to exist around these units. So they're kind of like demons of order. You know the way chaos demons spawn? These are like demons of order, little gribbly creatures that kind of run around. I think they're just kind of neat. And there's a flamethrower, which is cool. Very cool. I am not the biggest fan of the design of technology in Cities of Sigmar. I don't like the way it's like a branch. I prefer a more of an industrial vibe. I prefer the sort of more Renaissance vibe of the Empire, but I think these are cool models. and I'm sure there's gonna be people. Look, it's a grenade! There's a grenade! Oh my god, okay, so I was wrong. There is a grenade. Clan Skyer want their weapons back, and yes, it is a guard squad. And again, we're kind of seeing an issue here. I think, is this meant to be a bundle? Is this a bundle? Or is it just... So they're showing off 5 gallants. They have that new named character. They have a priest, and they have the 10 grenadiers. Is this... Is this a bundle? I'm not sure. And there's a new Battle Tome coming. Did they not already have a Battle Tome? I hate that release model. I really do. Oh, here we go. Here's the bundle. So this is the Combat Patrol, the Spearhead. And somehow it looks even worse. This is... Okay, so if you don't know, read this, right? This is a single guardman squad, right? Like the equivalency of an Imperial Guardsman squad, an officer squad, another officer squad, like an officer squad add-on, and then named character on a horse, basically. That doesn't feel great, in my opinion. Is this going to be a Spearhead? Because the problem with this is that, like, in Spearhead, there's actually a game mode called Spearhead, and unlike the combat patrol game mode in 40k. Spearhead is actually really good. I really like Spearhead. I'm a big fan of Spearhead. It got a really high review from me when I reviewed it on my Patreon for a Patreon video. Which, by the way, I do that. I review all sorts of different war games for Patreon. You should check it out. But I reviewed Spearhead as a separate thing, and it got a higher score, I think, than Age of Sigmar proper. So, yeah, it's kind of a pity, because I do not think that this Spearhead is going to be balanced, and it's going to be really sad, because this will be the third Spearhead for Cities of Sigmar, and every single one of them has been the worst Spearhead in the game, and I think this one's going to be just as bad. That sucks. They should have had the Cogfort in the Spearhead. That would be amazing. That would be so funny. That'd be so good. CR Smith asks, why is Old World so good with money for models compared to the other lines, even Lord of the Rings? The reason why, basically, is because they don't... I think at first, they didn't have a ton of faith in the model line. I think the Games Workshop didn't think it would do, like, amazingly well. So that's why they released it as a very limited item, right? They released, like, each army slowly at a time in massive bundles so that they could kind of try and maximize the amount of cash that older fans would give to them. I think that was number one. Number two is, it was older fans. So I think that they thought that because they were more entrenched hobbyists, that they would be less willing to spend a lot of money on the property when compared to like more casual Warhammer 40k fans. There's less of a competitive atmosphere, so they didn't think they could draw as much money from them. But third, and I think the absolute most important part about Warhammer Fantasy is that Warhammer Fantasy had to be competitive with other games. Okay, this is like the biggest one. This is the biggest one, and it's something that gets passed over all the time that people do not talk about. And it's something that I think people forget whenever we talk about the pricing of Games Workshop, is the Games Workshop get away with it because they are a monopoly in the broader wargame hobby. But Old World isn't a monopoly. You gotta remember the context. Warhammer the Old World comes out at a time when other games exist that are doing exactly what Warhammer the Old World did. Because Warhammer the Old World, right, go back to Warhammer Fantasy, it wasn't performing very well. They kill it, right? What happens? A ton of other games come out. Kings of War from Banty Games. Ninth Age. You have all sorts, like, you have so much rank and flanks. And Warhammer Fantasy as a model range is kind of a bit historical, right? The Empire are sort of a Renaissance force. It's why I have a Landsknecht army for my Warhammer Fantasy models. And you can do that, right? So Games Workshop had to be more competitive in how they price their models, because if I don't want to pay for the Empire state troops, I'm just going to buy some Landsknecht, which I still did. So they had to break down the pricing a little. Another element is, and this is one that you'll see a lot of people talk about, but I don't think it is quite as relevant, is that the sculpts have been out for a really long time. So Games Workshop had already made their money back. Whenever you first create a sculpt, it costs a lot of money. So you're always trying to pull back your investment on it. And because like these old Warhammer Fantasy sculpts had been out for like 15 years, right? 20 years, 30 years, maybe not 30, right? I'm not that old yet. I'm not that old. But because the sculpts have been out for so long, Games Workshop were able to justify, I guess, charging less money for them. Or charging less money for them, because they had already sold them a bunch of times and gotten their money back. Now, people think that's a big deal. I actually don't think it's a big deal at all, and the reason why is because of Cathay. Cathay is an army that was released for the Old World, and it is entirely new sculpts. It was created in like 2025, and the pricing was the same as every other army. It was consistent across the model range. It doesn't matter if you're buying state troops that are 20 years old, or buying Cathay troops that are 1 year old. They're charging the exact same price, because Games Workshop actually don't care that much about that. They know they're going to make their money back eventually. They are going to make their money back. It is not an issue. They could charge half as much as they charge, and they know they're going to make their money back, right? So it's just they're trying to make themselves more competitive in the market, because the Old World just has more competitors. They know that people are going to go to other model ranges and buy for their games, so therefore they try to make them more competitive in terms of their pricing. That's it. That's the big thing. With Warhammer 40k, they know you're going to buy their Space Marines because they're the only Space Marines you can get. It's why they hate the idea of other people 3D printing Space Marines. It completely shatters their entire business model. They absolutely detest it. And it looks like Games Workshop is pricing new hobbyists out of the hobby, and they're scaring people away, is the winner, according to according to the poll. The poll people here do believe that that is the case. At least 9% to 91%. That's pretty high. That's pretty high. Don Brooks says, I think we all just got a glimpse into Discord's childhood in Belfast, where she was dreaming about her own tank flamethrower, to which I stand by her dream and the benefits and beauty of a flamethrower. I agree. Steve McGrath says, competitive just like the paints. Yes, that's very true. But this is the thing with the old world, right? Like the audience for the old world, I think, is a different audience. They just are. And what's funny is when you see the Cathay models, I think they look just as good as any of the new Warhammer 40k models or any of the new Cities of Sigmar models or whatever. Like, I think they look fantastic. I think the Cathay release has actually been probably one of the most effective model ranges that they've ever seen, or that I've ever seen. Now, that said, interestingly, I did get something, so I guess I can. After all I said, I did get. I am going to check this game out. I've been told it's very good, which is Kings of War by Mantic Games. And what's interesting is they have a sort of a very similar faction to Cathay, I suppose, only they're like gnolls. They're like a Chinese faction. So I think they're like Mongols that have taken over a human Chinese empire, which is really cool. Very cool. And there's also some like fish dudes as well. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. I want to check that out. I'm going to check out some Kings of War and probably some Firefight as well, because as much as we say that Games Workshop doesn't have any competition with Warhammer 40k, there is a ton of competition out there for them. There is a ton of competition. For people who voted no, says Grant Nagus LI, for people who voted no, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. I have to fight against the perception that the hobby is massively expensive every time I try to bring someone in. It's the same thing for me. Like, I'm always trying to explain to people that no, like, this isn't super expensive. But it's not the, it's not. It's really not. Like this is £100, and it comes with like the rules. It comes with 2 forces in there, 60 miniatures for 100, right? Like, to me, this is like a battalion box. And that's £100 RRP, so you can probably get it cheaper on some third-party stores. Compare that to a combat patrol, right? That's 60 miniatures in there versus, I don't know, how much do you get in a combat patrol anymore? Like 27? It's kind of wild. Skaven Matt says, those fish dudes were the guys GW stole for their underwater elf army range in Age of Sigmar. Yeah, got them. Cease and desist! Cease and desist. Efred says their most recent kits look super nice and are not oversculpted like GW's. I think it's in reference to Mantic Games. Mantic Games have really stepped up their sculpting. I think I first noticed it with the halflings. I thought that looked sick. They look so cool. The halflings for Mantic Games look like absolutely fantastic. Confused says, I've been wanting to try Kings of War Champions, a lighter version of the full game played from one box. I've seen the ambush boxes, and I tried out some of the ambush, so I did, but I've never played, I think, like a big, massive game of Kings of War, ever. I've only played, like, the kind of smaller scale games of it. Yeah. So I guess maybe that was Champions. I do know that there's, like, a skirmish version where you're playing with, like, individual hero characters, which is kind of cool. Mantic make great models now, as long as you don't buy their elves, says Skaven Matt. Ooh, okay. Now, sir, you have piqued my curiosity. Okay, so let's look at these elves. Right, you can't say don't buy this thing, because now I really want to buy this thing, or rather, I want to see why it's so bad. All right, let's do it. All right, we're gonna do it. Okay. Although let's not go off that page because we're actually using it. Mantic Games. Show season is here, apparently. Oh, my goodness. Not bad. Oh, a bunch of Halo stuff. I don't know why I clicked that. I was just curious. I was just literally curious. All right, let's see. So we're going to go into we got the online rules. Hello, Games Workshop. Please pay attention. Right, so we've got Firefight, Dead Zone, Kings of War. Elves. You're telling me not to look at elves. Why? Okay, at a glance, they look okay. What's going on with these? What the heck? Oh my god, look at them! I'm so sorry, Mantic, but what is going on with this guy's face? Look at this guy. What's going on? Wow, these look really weird and spindly, don't they? Okay, interesting. Right, okay, I get you. These look old. These must be old. When did these come out? These are literally the elf faction, which is the most generic sounding faction in the world, so I'm not sure when these came out. See, these look cool. I like the air elementals. They're kind of nice. What about the horsies? Let's see the Silver Breeze. Yeah, I think one of the issues that they're having here is that the paint job is not doing them any favors. Someone tried to paint the eyes, and I think that's always a mistake. See, the elves are all old, and they are thematically the oldest beings, along with my hero, Tom Bombadil. Okay, I get you. See, right. Let's compare these. I think that, yeah, if this is their older models, Mantic have come a really long way, because let's look at the halflings, right? Like, let's look at the halflings. Right? Like, hold up. Right, let's look at the halflings. See, they also have this thing where instead of Gargants, they're riding on like trolls. And by the way, they were doing this for a while. They did this before Cities of Sigmar did it. And I just feel like the design looks a lot more realistic, where they're kind of braced on the trolls. But like, okay, let's look at the halflings. Right, this is far superior. Right, these look way better. I love these models. These are great. These are like the night halflings. Not like night halfling as like night elves. I mean like they're nightly halflings. And they got their little balloons, and they have their there's something really gross about this. They have like manipulated this giant salamander, and they've like fed him fungus to make him super like big, and he can't move anymore. And he's like, I don't know, this reminds me of that episode of Malcolm in the Middle where Hal is trying to make Lois as fat as possible because it gets him off. There's something about this that just, I don't know. It freaks me out. But it looks like they wave ham in front of it so that it'll like try to burn the ham, and then they take the ham away so it burns like a bunch of people in front of it. I think they use it as a flamethrower. I think that's awesome. It's such an imaginative little model. I think it's so cool. The Halfling Swamp Belcher is what it is. Yeah, that's cool. I love that thing. But I'm trying to find the basic infantry, because I think the basic infantry look great. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. Whenever you buy the basic infantry in Kings of War, you get a whole bunch of them. I forgot about that. For much cheaper. Sorry, by the way, I'm battling a cold at the minute. You might be able to tell. Yeah, so let's look at the muster battle group, I guess. So 50 pounds gets you what? Gets you this many models, which is pretty sweet. Gets you a bunch of well, I was gonna say horsemen, but they're dog boys. They're little doggies that they ride on. And yeah, like this is the basic infantry, and I think they look great. Like these are more modern sculpts. I think they look absolutely fantastic. I think they look really good. I suspect that Mantic have started going to the digital sculpting now, I think. Yeah, so they look pretty cool. But wow, those elves are kind of silly. Actually, let's see we're kind of on a journey now. We're off on a journey. Because I really like the Night Stalkers. I know this is a new faction for Firefight, which is their like sci-fi version, their sci-fi game. But I really love these models. I think these are like my favorite models. These to me outclass anything that Games Workshop have done in terms of like demons or anything, or even like I just love these. They look like I don't know. They look like something out of Event Horizon or something. They look like demons. Like these look like actual like nightmare creatures. These look absolutely sick. I love these. Possum Billy says needs more pipe smoking in the models. That's fair. That's fair. So these look absolutely fantastic. And look, it's a Games Workshop sprue. Everyone's doing that now with the hard plastics. But we've gone on a side quest there. We went on a side quest. We were looking at the Cities of Sigmar stuff. And were we done with the Cities of Sigmar? I think we did. We just finished the Cities of Sigmar. And the Cities of Sigmar was meant to be a side quest away from the 11th edition things. Okay. So I think that was all the Cities of Sigmar stuff. Looking good. I like it. Looking good. Pretty cool looking models. But that's right. We got Skaven. We got Skaven. We got to talk about Skaven. So we got this new spearhead. This new spearhead box looks like a spearhead starter set. And in it, I hope these aren't bundled in as kind of like locked in this box set. I hope these are available to buy separately. And I hate that I have to say that, but sometimes the Games Workshop, you just don't know. You can use those Night Stalkers in Firefight and 2 different fantasy armies too, says Skaven. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. I like that. So these are the new like gutter runners and night runners. Now, if we look at this picture, okay? What I would love to know, can you see what I see? Right? What is the problem with this picture? There is a big issue here. A massive problem. A massive problem. They're Eshin, you can skip them, says Skaven Matt. Skaven Matt, get out. Get out of here. We love our Eshin here, okay? They have been to the Far East and they have trained in the most exotic of martial art. Well, they haven't actually, because this is Age of Sigmar, not Warhammer Fantasy. So they've been to the realm of ninja training, and they are very powerful. They've played a lot of Tenchu, and they've got Grandmaster on Tenchu. So you can't, gotta watch out for these guys. These are knightly, not knightly. So what is wrong with this picture? What is wrong with these Skaven? Yes, they look cool, but my problem with them is, what's the what now? Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I the only person who cannot tell the difference between these 2 units? Right? Like, at a glance, they look identical to me. They're kind of the exact same thing. So, firstly, the new Skaven looks pretty cool. He's got little tiny ears. I find that really funny. I think he looks kind of neat. He looks kind of fun. He's got a little dagger and stuff. He looks kind of cool. But this is the new Gutter Runners. The Gutter Runners are like assassins. They're elite Eshin assassins. So they've got all sorts of really cool items and weapons and stuff. They look very monopose. It doesn't look like there's a lot of customization with these. These are just statues, which is fine for me, because I would buy 10 of these and be done, right? But for people who are like all in on Eshin, I think that might be a bit of a pity. But the models look good. I think they're pretty fun looking models. They look cool. But then, I mean, we scroll down to the Night Runners, which are like a ranged version of the Gutter Runners. They're like a more cheap and cheerful, kind of expendable version. And they look kind of very similar to me. Like, they are all kind of, you know, vaguely stealthy looking and, you know, kind of in rags. Like, I know that they're both meant to be of the same Eshin clan, and they're meant to represent a certain element of the, you know, they're just a sub-faction of the Skaven, but they still look very similar. They look almost identical, in fact. So, wait, so this was meant to be, this is a new spearhead. So we're getting 2 new spearheads for Cities of Sigmar, and I think they both might be the worst spearheads in the game. Oh no. Oh, they don't have tactical rocks, I guess. That's the difference. Yeah, Kraz, actually, Kraz points out it's a named character as spearhead. What the heck's going on there? What is going on there? What is going on there? Night Runners used to have slings and throwing weapons. Right? Yeah. Now, they do have, you can still see some like shuriken. You can see these little sort of like weaponized Tenchu ropes. But they used to be very focused on like slings and shurikens. Look for the poison is the difference, says Skaven Matt. Yeah, I don't know. I think that on the table, it's going to be really hard to tell these apart unless are they on different base sizes? I can't even tell if they're on different base sizes that much. I hate it. 3 spearheads and 3 named heroes, says Kraz. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that, because it kind of destroys repurchase ability of the spearheads. For me, I like these bundles to be boxes that someone would comfortably buy multiples of in order to like bulk out their force. right at the end of the day, this is an army level game. So I might need to buy, you know, for me, the perfect like combat patrol or spearhead are infantry, good support unit, kind of good repeatable officer, vehicle, or like big monster, or knights. You know, like that's a pretty good box, because then I can buy that like 3 times and I've got an army. I'm done. I'm like, yeah, I've got my full army done, right? And you can't do that with these boxes that come with a named character. And Games Workshop, I think, know that. They just want to get that sweet little purchase. They want to make it feel very purchasable. And I wonder if these named characters are going to be sold separately, or if they're going to be sold only, not only at a spearhead box. I think this spearhead might be locked to this starter set. So to get it, you're going to need to buy the starter set and buy a Skaven spearhead as well, doubling down. I mean, think about that from a business point of view. They've doubled down on your purchase. They've got you to buy 2 spearheads. Wow. And you're gonna have to keep buying new models separately at a higher premium, because you couldn't buy that bundle 3 times. So yeah, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. That's a big issue. That is the big issue. So I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, I don't like the named characters all being in there. And I also think this box is just gonna get its ass handed to it. I really do. I really do. These grenadiers, they're gonna have to do a lot of fucking damage. Let me tell you, they're gonna have to do a lot of damage in order to do well. A lot of damage. So that is the Cities of Sigmar stuff and Skaven looked at. That's that. And it's good. It is cool. Like, I do love the model. Like, I think this was a great show for the models. I really do. I think it was a fantastic show for the miniatures. I think they all look great. Big fan of them. The new Riders of Rohan, again, another game that seems to be very Cuban focused as of late. There's a big agenda, I think, from Games Workshop right now. This is the agenda. Humans. They're into it. Don't like it. So, these new Riders of Rohan look sick. They look sick. I love the Riders of Rohan. Rohan is the coolest faction. They have such a beautiful soundtrack. How can you hate it? And also, we got the Dunlandings. The Dunlandings are less interesting to me. They're just guys in rags, really. They don't do anything for me. Horsies are indeed the best, Alan Wong. Now, we've talked about the good. And we've complained a little. Every so often, we've pointed out little issues. We've complained about the good. I think we need to talk about the bad, because there was some bad. You'll notice I've left something out of something very big about the Adepticon show. And we haven't talked about everything. Because there was something else I wanted to talk about that we have not talked about yet. That is not Kings of War, or the Cogfort, or the other Cogfort, or the guy with the funny face. Or the Riders of Rohan. I wanted to talk about this. Did you guys catch this? Did anyone see this? This was also revealed at Adepticon. I know it's not Warhammer 40k, but it's part of the wargaming hobby. It's the new Trench Crusade Carcass Front box set. That is... I think this is going to be like the starter set. This is the new starter set for Trench Crusade. And it looks awesome. I'm a big fan of this. I think Games Workshop have to look out here, because this is sick. This is what people want, I think. So this box set comes with a new book. It comes with a bunch of, content and cards and stuff. It comes with new models, but it comes with it. Look at this. Look. Oh my god. This has a big map for a campaign-based narrative campaign, like for a narrative campaign between two players, at least 2 players, I think, probably more. This looks awesome. This is really, really sick. This is really cool. I'm so excited for this. This is, to me, what they needed to do in 11th edition. Warhammer 40k needed to do this in 11th edition. They need to push narrative gameplay in a really big way. This is so awesome. So I'm really looking forward to this. This looks hyper exciting. I think there's 2 different campaigns in here. There's one where you're trying to, it's like a series of scenarios where you're trying to hunt down this Leviathan creature. And then there's another one that is like a territory-based campaign where you're just grabbing territory and you're fighting on the front. So you're playing like heretics versus, you know, non-heretics, which would be an ecumenical matter. But okay, that's all like the paper and the books and stuff. But you're also getting two war bands. So I think they said there's 16 models on hard plastic sprues. So there's gonna be 16 models overall. There's the heretic naval raiders. They have a bunch of new, very cool looking models. I do like the look of these. These are hard plastic. They look pretty awesome. And then there's also the procession of the Sacred Affliction, which is one of the faithful war bands as well. I love this guy. He's got like the big old cross behind him. This looks absolutely sick. Is that a lodestone? Is that like a priest wielding a lodestone? That is rocking. I love it. Yeah, and we got ourselves another flamethrower. There's a lot of flamethrowers going about wargaming these days. So yeah, like this looks really good. And I think the best part about it is, I think the price is right. So right now, it can be pre-ordered at £99, which I think is a very competitive price point for this. I have to wonder, can it be found cheaper on Wayland Games? Is it available in third-party stores? Doesn't look like it. They need to get it. They need to get it into third-party stores, I think. Oh, it can be. 10%. Okay. So £90 for that. Could be cheaper, I think. But, you know, honestly, I think for the price point, for a starter set, I think that's pretty good. That's competitive with the Warhammer ones, right? That's competitive with the Warhammer. They tied the billy stones to their enemies to drown them in mud. I love it. Krasno says, I'm in a Treasure Crusade campaign with France for now. 4 out of 10 people wanted to be the new Antioch, and 3 out of 4 of those people wanted to be Prussia. Well, the problem is Prussia is the only hard plastic faction right now, you know? Like, I've got a Heretic Legion force, but my Heretic Legion force is bought on GameFind, I think, or I got it through the Kickstarter. So, yeah, it's just so much more accessible to buy the new hard plastic stuff. So this is gonna be more hard plastic stuff. I'm really excited to see it. The new models look great. I think these look fantastic, and I think the price point is good. I think that the Prussians were a little bit pricey, but I think that this, for what you get for having a big campaign box being an introduction to the game, I think it's great. I'm really happy with this. I think they've done a good job. I think they've done a good job. Another game I saw is doing, I don't know if this was revealed at Adepticon, but I saw this. There are some new Dystopia War stuff. I don't know. Dystopia Wars I've never played. It's like a boat-based game, which is kind of cool. There's like little planes and stuff. I do love these. This is a smaller scale than a lot of other games, which I thought was kind of neat. But I do play... I did see these, and I thought these were kind of cool. These are from War Cradle. I saw these, like, these are Korean. This is like a Korean faction where you've got these giant dragon planes. This is like a alternative steampunk Victorian age. It's like the 19th century where there was like a UFO was discovered in the North Pole, and now all the technology is crazy. I think it's really awesome. And but part of that is Armored Clash is one of my favorite games at the minute. It's like a smaller scale. It reminds me a lot of Command and Conquer. It's like got these little tanks and stuff. It's a smaller scale game, so it's like 10 millimeters in size. The minis are small, but it means you get these big, massive battles, and it's so awesome. The Crown are like the British faction. It's the Brits, and they're up to it again. And it looks like they're getting turrets and defensive barricade units, like units that can build barricades, and new big heavy super tanks, which look really cool. So I think... if you're interested in smaller scale, like, what do you call the Games Workshop one? Titanicus? If you're interested in games like that, Armored Clash might be a game to check out. This is a new box set for the Crown. I thought it was kind of cool. Well, you have me a Korean dragon ships, says Dendo. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. I also found this as well. It looks like there's some new Star Wars Legion stuff coming out. I'm trying to get all the news from Adepticon. I told you, I'm desperate to be at Adepticon. I would love to be at Adepticon right about now. Looks like a bunch of new stuff. Star Wars Legion kind of killing it, honestly. Star Wars Legion kind of killing it right now. That was a game that very much has been resurrected from the dead, right? AMG came out with Shatterpoint. Well, what originally happened was Fantasy Flight Games had Star Wars Legion, right, in like the 2010s. And it was doing really well, as far as anyone knew. But then it got handed off. Asmodee, its publishing partner, the evil publishing wing, basically moved a bunch of stuff around. It took all the Star Wars miniature games, off of Fantasy Flight and gave it instead to AMG, who are a different company, who are a different developer. AMG already had Marvel Crisis Protocol, and Star Wars Shatterpoint was coming out for them, and they were given all these other games, including Star Wars Legion, and so everybody thought Star Wars Legion was gonna die, because like, AMG didn't seem that interested in it. And then they announced Shatterpoint, which was a different Star Wars skirmish game, and so it really looked like this was the end of Star Wars Legion. But honestly, for the last couple of years, Star Wars Legion has been doing well. It's gotten a real upswing. It's Star Wars Shatterpoint. It looks like it's getting kind of slowed down a little. So Star Wars Legion, eating well. It looks like new units. All the models have gotten refreshed and stuff. There's really cool looking Stormtrooper models. I like the new Han Solo. There's like some clone guys. I think they're named characters. I don't know. I don't know Star Wars very well. I just know the original trilogy. That's it. That's me. I just want to watch the first 3 movies and then I'm done. You got a little, what do you call him? Of course I know him. He's me. What's that guy's name? Obi-Wan Kenobi on a little bike. So that's kind of cool. Everyone's going fast these days. Even Wazdaka and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Kel says, woohoo. Sorry, Chief Discourse. What's that mean? Crowd says the models for Legion are great, but I don't like the rules. Really, I think I actually quite like the rules for Star Wars Legion. I think they're pretty fun. I really like the command cards as well. I don't like, they did a redesign of a bunch of the art assets, which I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I do like the core gameplay. So yeah, no, I thought that these looked pretty sweet. And is that everything before we get to the big news? Okay, we're gonna do it. Oh yeah, go ahead, Warlord. Sue them. People are gonna say that I was saying that unironically now, aren't they? I'm telling you, a lot of misinformation out there about Discourse Minis. A lot of misinformation. Speaking of which, there is a new edition trailer, and I think we should watch the trailer, shouldn't we? Because I haven't really seen it. I haven't really watched it very well. I'm trying to accept the cookies, but it won't let me. Come on, let me accept. Oh my god, it won't let me accept the cookies. So I can't see any videos. Okay, let's see. It's gotta be Warhammer 40k 11th edition trailer. Let's watch it together. Cause I got some bones to pick here. Okay, reject all. Alright, I got some bones. Dramatic music plays. Let's do it. Let's go. Didn't I?
Armageddon, the war world.
Let me know if the audio is off.
Its soil is worthless, salted by the blood and sweat of generations. War is all that remains. It rises from the dust and echoes in the sky. A promise.
Blood Angels.
A cacophony of endings.
A Blonde Boys. Some Ultramarines. New Orc Walker, it looks like. New Orc Mech of some kind. With a big old Gatling gun. Something tells me this guy has strong feelings about heresy.
Sanguinius' sons. Angels of death.
So mad. Very mad.
We belong here. Our veins burn with his wrath. Our twin hearts hammer with his rage.
Man, the orcs are real jobbers in this game, aren't they? Holy shit. Even the Tyranids in the old trailer got a few kills. But in this, like, the orcs just get... Okay. One of the Space Marines got vomited on. That wasn't even a Blood Angel, that was an Ultramarine. Oh my god. Then he gets bopped. Much mad, very Daka.
There can be no retreat.
So is he a Gargant or a Big Stopper?
There is only war.
So, okay. Firstly, what did everyone think about this trailer? Because I actually felt like it wasn't as good as 10th edition's trailer, actually. So June, it's coming out in June. All right, so we got a release date. Well, I don't think that this was as good as, honestly, as the, hey, that looks cool. I don't think it was good as the 10th edition one, the Leviathan trailer. I actually think the Leviathan trailer was better. Wild Magic does rock in animation. It does rock in animation.
Deep river rock flavored.
But it feels like the Orcs First League just got completely... what is it? They got mogged on? Is that what the children are saying now? They got mogged? Totally mogged by the Space Marines? Sorry for caps lock. Yeah, like, I don't know. I just feel like less stuff happened. It was, like, less interesting. Maybe because it was on Armageddon and there wasn't a single Steel Legion soldier. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. I think that this... oh, Jesus. The 10th edition trailer came out 3 years ago when 10th edition released. I think this one was better. It was just cooler. I don't know. It set out the stakes a bit better. With 11th edition, are they going to pine everything around Armageddon? Because with
That is what
10th,
the preachers cry from the spires
you
of
got
their temples.
the galaxy-wide war, you know?
What commanders tell the soldiers in their service? The Indomitus Crusade meets with triumph after triumph.
Underwhelming. The dialogue is too cheesy. Yeah, I feel like it is a little bit user. I agree.
Imperium Nihilus from the despoiler's grip.
Whereas I feel like
Though
the
we
Gulliman
are
speech
beset
here
on all sides,
is a bit stronger.
with each battle we drive back the mutant, the heretic, the alien.
Like, we're gonna see a lot of dead Tyranids, don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure the
As I
Tyranids
speak
get a couple of
these
kills.
words, our forces engage the remnants of Leviathan. Reclaiming lost worlds.
I don't know, maybe it's just the atmosphere. There just seems to be a lot more atmosphere in this one.
A crusade to cleanse the stars. Taking the fight to the enemy.
Like, this is sick, right? Okay, Space Marines are
routed
getting...
the Tyranids at Baal. We broke their high fleet. Soon, their foulness will be but a memory. That is
Tyranids
what
get
the
one.
preachers say.
See, there's a little story going on in this one that I think is a more interesting through line than the 11th edition trailer, right? With the 10th edition trailer, it's kind of like, uh-oh, things are getting worse.
Will not save us.
Gulliman's losing hope. They thought that they were being triumphant, and now it's got like the Tyranids are back and they're worse. Things are worse than ever, you know? It's like, it's big, it's epic.
But it is our hope that will damn us.
And uh-oh, here come the Terminators. With their giant Gatling gun.
In the spires and the slums.
Wait, are we going to see a dead Terminator? No, we're not going to see a dead Terminator. We're not going to see a dead Terminator. 2+ armor, bitch. Oh no, it's some sort of brain bug.
Our people sing of victory. Victory as the galaxy burns. Victory as the Imperium rots around us. Victory as humanity rages against the dying of the light.
Yeah, so planet lost, planet lost. This feels like a last stand, like the Imperium is desperate.
Victory.
Right? There's like this cool through line. With the 11th edition trailer, it's just like, yeah, I guess, you know, orcs or whatever on this like one dinky planet. Not a great planet to live on. Guess we'll kill the orcs. Okay. Right? And the skill thing, like, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love the Armageddon. Like, I think it's a really cool setting. I think it's a really neat place. I think that the orcs, there should be more than 6 million of them invading the planet, though. Games Workshop, work on your numbers, please, on your arithmetic. But I think it's cool. Like, I think that Armageddon's cool. But I don't know if it's, like, enough to hang an entire, your hat on. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if it's enough for that. Feels like that's kind of what they're doing with the 11th edition box. And in a lot of ways, okay? See, this is what I'm talking about. I feel like in a lot of ways, 11th edition Warhammer 40k, it feels a little bit like patch notes. Like this entire thing could have been handled in one of those like books, like in one of those books that they do, which is like a campaign book. And that could have been it. That could have been it. With 10th edition Warhammer 40k, Games Workshop were like, this is fucking massive. You need this. You need this because we are wiping the slate clean. There is a new boy in town and its name is 10th edition. And they were radically shifting. They were getting rid of a bunch of the clunkiness and the mechanics and a bunch of the guff that had kind of getting wound up in the gears of Warhammer 40k. They got rid of it all. They streamlined everything. Now, was that good or bad? People disagree, right? People disagree on that. But it was really big and it was a massive change. With 11th edition, it just feels like they're doing tiny tweaks, like a patch. It's like just a standard patch. And even the stakes are like patch note size. It's not even an expansion. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to zoom in on this one planet for a hot minute. Okay, sure, I guess. Oh no, Armageddon's going to be lost. Right? Like the 10th edition one was like Tyranids are invading the entire element of the Imperium and actually things look more dire than ever before and everything's going to collapse. With Armageddon, it's like, do you remember that planet we've been fighting over? Yeah, the fighting is still going on. Okay. More L-shaped ruins, please. Yeah, like maybe they started as campaign book, but then they needed the whole edition. Well, they were always going to do a new edition. That's the thing. Because 2026 is the new edition year. 2029 is also a new edition year. You know? So it's just, it's so cynical. It's so cynical. Because Games Workshop repeatedly say in all their, whenever they do annual reports and in every single year that there's a new edition of Warhammer 40k that comes out, it's their best year ever. They always say that. They're like, hey, this year a new edition came out and as usual, it was our best year ever. So it's just like, it's a tax. You have to pay into the tax. And it gets kind of a little bit frustrating, you know, because it's not as if Warhammer 40k couldn't get a lot of improvements. Now, they are making tweaks, like, don't get me wrong. They say, firstly, there's new models, okay? So there's a new Space Marine, to the shock of everyone. There's a new Orc as well. They've made some changes to the Orc boys I'm not the biggest fan of. Like now, Orc Sluggers and Shooters are one unit, and I don't like that. Actually, I liked Shooters and Sluggers being different. Now they're just one thing, and I think that it's so cynical. The reason why they're making Orc Sluggers and Shooters, combine them into a single unit, is because they want that old Orc boy set and future ones to be monopose, so you can't customize them as well. And they want to be able to have the Orc boys with guns and the Orc boys with choppers and shooters. And so rather than, you know, try to create multi-pose Orc boys that you can customize a ton, which is what you used to be able to do, they're just gonna fold them both into the same model, like into the same unit, and then sell that like it's a good thing. It's so cynical to me. It's so frustrating. But they are making changes to the rules, but the changes feel so minor that actually I don't think that many casual players will notice the changes. I think it's that minute. The first one is detachments. You can now have multiple detachments in your army. So you can have 2 detachments now instead of 1. And you get like half the rules for one detachment and half the rules for the other. Okay? It doesn't seem that exciting to me. The other one is instead of circular objectives, you know, instead of like little objective markers, you're not going to point at a piece of terrain and go, that's the objective. Okay? The terrain rules, now you can't be shot off the board in the first turn if you're within terrain. So you can't be shot now outside of 15 inches on the first turn if you're inside terrain pieces. Okay? Cover now gives you it's harder to hit you instead of giving you a bonus to your armor save. This could have been an email. Right? Like, this could have been an email. I don't know. It just doesn't feel, like, radical enough. Now, there's still time to hear some more stuff, right? But I don't think we're getting alternating activations, you guys. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're getting anything radically different. We're not getting free rules, certainly. They've said that, and it's kind of like one of those good thing, bad things. What they said was, oh, don't worry, all your codices are going to be able to be used in 11th edition. So what does that tell us? It tells us, number one, the rules are not changing fundamentally. It means that all the rules that you have right now are pretty much going to be as applicable to 11th edition as they are to 10th edition. But it also tells us that codices are still going to be the main business model of Games Workshop. It's still going to be the way that they sell things. They're not going to be giving out all these rules for free. Which is crazy, right? Because every other miniature wargame company give you rules for free. That's actually the norm now. Games Workshop are weird. They're the weird company. And again, I guess this goes back to the prices of the models kind of scaring hobbyists off. The rules are another big one. Oh, I gotta buy all these books. I don't even know where to start, right? That's not an issue for most other games. Most other games just go, well, you just go to our website and you click download rules and you've got everything there, right? Trench Crusade do it. Blackout does it. The Mantic Give stuff do it. Everybody does it, right? Like, everybody does it. Armored Clash does it. I was just talking about that earlier. Like, every single game, one-page rules does it. We're never getting alternating activation, says French. They would rather fire the designers than evolve the gameplay. Maybe. New video idea. Top 20 crafts to make with circular objective tokens. Yeah, a lot of people are going to have bought objective tokens and custom ones and stuff. There's a lot of, like, YouTubers, I think, with game stores that have, like, custom objective tokens that are, like, going, Infinity gives you free rules. Yeah. So it's kind of a bit frustrating in that sense, where whenever I see a new edition of a game, I kind of expect, like, what's different? Like, is this going to materially make the game better? And I just don't really... I mean, there are elements of it, I think, that are quality of life changes. There was one where now when you charge, instead of, you know, having to pick your target before rolling, you now choose it after, right? Yeah, that's like a small quality of life improvement. Sucks if you're Thai, by the way. This is gonna be a rough rough edition for Thai. So yeah, I don't mind, like, rules changes and stuff, but I just wish they would be, like, big changes, that they would justify these big changes. Because you got to bear in mind that Armageddon as a box set, this as a box set. Firstly, I do love the art on the front of it. The art is really cool. The art is really neat. I like the art. I think that's cool. Apparently it's a callback to the 2nd edition box set, which that's kind of neat. But right, the rules are probably going to be bound up in this box for a period of time. So the only way to get the 11th edition is going to be to buy this box set. And there's going to be a lot of hobbyists who buy this box set purely to get the rules, right? So it's just a tax. It's just a new amount of money to come in. And it's just very cynical. Wait, what's this going to be rough about for Tau, says Dendo? Well, Dendo, I mean, think about it. So the rules changes are... you get to choose your target after rolling when you charge into melee, okay? So that means that you're more likely going to get into melee with something, right? Because you can move in such a way that you'll have, like, 2 options. One you don't want to charge as much, like a screening unit, and one that you really want to charge to. And just take punts instead of having to, like, you know, oh, I'll charge the screening unit because I'm really unlikely to get the backline Tau Fire Warriors. And also, now, in the first turn, you can't be shot at if the shooter is outside of 15 inches and you're in terrain. So now Tau will not be able to shoot someone off the board, basically. So your shooting is going to be a lot worse shooting is going to be a lot worse. Now, Cobalt is saying, I do like the terrain as objectives, though. I want to bring an army of mathematic objectives. I agree. There are changes here that I like. I do like changes here. The objectives one is big. I really prefer that as well. I feel like this is a change that probably should have happened a long time ago, because a lot of other games do this where, you know, the objective is a piece of terrain. And I agree. I think that fighting over terrain is really cool. I kind of don't like the very competitive boards where it's just a bunch of L-shaped ruins that are super bare, haven't even been painted. There's no actual physical terrain on the table. In fact, it kind of gets in the way of a good, balanced, competitive game, according to a lot of players. And so I like the idea of there being actual things that you're fighting over. I think that's cool. Like 50% of the joy of wargaming is the spectacle of wargaming. It's having the really beautiful miniatures all laid out on the table, right? If you can play with tokens this game. You don't need to buy any models. You can play tokens, go on to Wikipedia, get all the rules you want, and just play with literal like paper tokens on blank boards with just like toilet roll out, you know? But we don't do that because we want to have the beautiful miniatures, we want to have the beautiful terrain, and that's great. Currently, there's not enough of that in Warhammer. I love encouraging that. And same thing is with, by the way, with the terrain rules. I think they're making this change to the terrain rules where you can't be shot at when you're inside terrain, because as it stands right now, at the beginning, every single turn must start with you hiding behind terrain, right? All the competitive maps have all got those L-shaped ruins for a reason. It's to protect you from oppressive shooting. Now, there were two ways to resolve this. One of the ways was to fundamentally change the turn system, to not make it an I go, you go system where I activate all my units, then you activate all your units. Instead, give it more of a put some thought into the game design, maybe do like alternating activations and things like that. Or the other way was just basically to go, yeah, you just can't be shot at in terrain, and that they've gone for the latter. I'm not 100% against that, but it does mean that we're probably going to see more variety in terrain. It does mean that we're going to see like more like blocks instead of just ruins everywhere. We're going to see more terrain, so that's cool. I like that. I like the idea of people going in. It feels weird, right, not to be in terrain at the beginning of the game. You get punished for like moving into terrain at the beginning of the game. You just get shot on the table. Instead, you like have to hide, and it doesn't feel very Warhammery to like be hiding away. I liked what they did with Age of Sigmar, where they just got rid of morale because they were just like, it's not very Warhammer. It's like, it's not very epic if your guys are like breaking. And I think that works for like a heavy metal album, which 40k is. Warhammer 40k is a heavy metal album. Why am I hiding my Space Marines, you know? 11th edition, biggest change is the price tag, says Die laughing. Like, there's going to be some changes. I just think that it's going to be very minor. It's not like getting me super as hyped. I was hyped for 10th edition. I was really looking forward to it. I was like, they could go anywhere with this thing, right? It's 10th edition. It's 10. But 11th edition just feels a bit minor. Just feels really minor. So the idea of buffing better units and getting worse objectives for the game is nice. I wonder how they break it. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm a little bit skeptical. I'll tell you what though, we're gonna get. I'd love to see a poll, see what people are feeling with. How are you feeling? Are you? Whoops. Looking forward. Then they say the fight phase was completely changed with how you choose who fights. Well, for me, I think they say that the change was going to be that it's the fights first mechanic changes. So if you've got fights first, the defender, I think, still gets to do a fight before the fights first. I think it's a very technical change. So I'm not 100% sure. I think we're still really waiting to hear more. This is just my initial. My opinion is always subject to change, especially in these streams. You're getting my raw, unfiltered thoughts, unscripted, too hot for TV. Some would say, but we're gonna see. I just kind of hope they haven't mentioned anything about it, but I kind of hope they bring point values back to weapons. I would really like the list build again in Warhammer 40k. It's like one of my favorite parts of Warhammer 40k. And they haven't mentioned anything about that, so I'm kind of worried that they have it, because I feel like they would have mentioned it by now if they were bringing points values back. I have hopium, says Crass. Hopium! Hopium or salt. That should have been the poll. Hopium or salt. Garzini says, how often do the rules change significantly between versions? I mean, I feel like 8th edition was a big shift. And then 9th edition was pretty big as well, right? It added on a lot of stuff. Then 10th edition wiped away a bunch of that. Then 11th edition it sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like that big at the end. Change. So Steven says, looks like my firstborn may return. Well, I mean, they never went away in a sense, right? Like, you could always play with them. And I think what they're doing now is it's very cynical. So what they did was they created a new type of Space Marine, the Primaris, to replace all the firstborn. So all the Space Marine players had to buy new Space Marine models. Right, I like my Space Marine models, but they're kind of out of scale. The Primaris were like an objective upgrade in terms of the scaling of the model. So, okay, so you buy the new Primaris Space Marines. Then 10 years later, now they're going to make all the firstborn models into scale with the Primaris models, which they probably should have just done in the first place, right? Like, the whole Primaris thing didn't need to happen. They could have just made firstborn bigger. So now they're going to do that. They're going to make firstborn as big as the Primaris Space Marines to sell to those same people another army of Space Marines in firstborn material. So, I mean, Games Workshop are playing a very 5D game here. Very 5D game. Cobalt says, how's Age of Sigmar? Me and my brother are getting into it slowly. I'm kind of excited. I can bring a walking tower to build a bunch of skeletons around. I really like Age of Sigmar. I really like Age of Sigmar. I play Age of Sigmar. I think that Age of Sigmar is funner than 40k, at least 10th edition 40k. I think that their new edition of Age of Sigmar, the latest one, is really good. I'm a really big fan of it. I would recommend Age of Sigmar. I think it's fun. It does a very specific thing. It does a very specific, it's a very melee heavy game that feels very intentionally designed, right? Sometimes with Warhammer 40k, I get the feeling that the game, there's not a lot of intentionality behind the design. Instead, there's a lot of tradition. Like, they have to do I go, you go, right? There's just parts of the game that they have to maintain because otherwise the whole thing falls apart. Like, the suits won't let them change it. But with Age of Sigmar, it feels like they took that and they really ran with it. Like, they got rid of the morale system. And the game does not need morale. They created this thing where everyone has this huge radius around them. So the fights get really protracted and drawn. Everyone comes into it. It gets this big, massive clump. I think the game works really well. I'm a big fan of it. Who is the hottest miniatures influencer and why is it you, says Mr. Austin? Oh, I don't know about that. I think it is... Let's see. I think it is... Who do we think? I'm searching now. Wow, this is like way harder than I thought. Shagrot. Yeah, we're gonna go with Shagrot. Shagrot's side quests. There we go. Yeah, the perfect answer. Oh shit, we lost our spiral. Yeah, good answer, me, I think. Allspecs Tactics? No, not Allspecs Tactics. Only because he has the white background on his screen, and I can't watch him at night because it keeps me like the lighting keeps me awake. It's too bright. I wish he would do like darker backgrounds. That'd be sick. I didn't know about the stream, says Kobold. This is my first stream in a while, but I will be back. I will be back. It's really hard to like justify sometimes to do the streams because they're like really like I find them really intense. Like they afterwards have to decompress. So I find the streams like I really enjoy doing them. Like I love chatting with everybody, but I find them like so stressful. And then it's just trying to find the time because I'm always writing, and I've been working on a we're gonna call it a Pokemon game. Okay, it's like an Eldamon game. I've been spending a lot of time doing that and working on the channels and stuff, so it's just like it's pretty crazy. Dawi After Dark. Oh my goodness. What kind of Warhammer porn site is this? I'm glad Kill Team is leaning more into narrative plays. What is your thoughts? Asks Arjen. My problem with that is I don't feel like Kill Team is a great narrative like base foundation, if you know what I mean. I think that I think that Kill Team is a very competitive-minded game, and so it's kind of grafted on a narrative thing. Casey Boyd Swan, thank you so much for the $20 donation. Says finally caught a live stream. Well, thank you. I'm really glad that you caught it. It's like catching a white whale here. So thank you very much. You got me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. That's very kind of you. It's very kind of you. The big I can like it. Ooh, yes. Thank you. That's so kind. Kel says, yes, and that Eldamon looks fun. Yeah, I've been working on, so for those who don't know, I've been working on an Eldamon war game recently. I've been working with Roll for Combat on that, so we're going to be bringing that out at some stage, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's like a Pokemon game, basically, where you get different Pokemon. You're like a trainer, and you've got like a bunch of these little Eldamon guys, and they go onto the grid, and they fight each other, and they've all got different elements, and they got different powers, and you sub in different ones, you know, as you're fighting, and yeah, you've got like a trainer flex, which is like your special power. It's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to bringing that out. I hope people enjoy that. Who's doing Games Expo in Brum this year, says James Deeds. I'm not, I am. I'm going to the UKGE actually this year, so if you see me there, say hello. Please stop by and say hello. I'm going to be going to the UK Games Expo. So far, it's looking like people are excited for 11th edition. I think people are excited for 11th edition, it looks like. Yes, more so than no. Yes, more so than no. I don't know. I think I'm very... I want to hear more. I want to hear more right now. Stream more Blood Bowl, says Z Dragon. Oh, Blood Bowl. It's too stressful. There's so much going on. I need to play my... I've been waiting for Gretchen. You know, I need Gretchen to play Blood Bowl. I need Gretchen to play Blood Bowl. My problem with Blood Bowl, right, is that Blood Bowl is a very competitive game. And I'm not very competitive as a person. Or I am, but that's a problem. I like to not play competitively. I like to try and play just for fun. You know, and I know people find competition fine. I'm not talking against that. But for me personally, I like to play and not feel too much pressure to, like, perform well, if you know what I mean. So I like to just play and have fun and play casually. And with Blood Bowl, that game is so stressful. It's so intense. You know, like, you're the simplest... And sometimes it's not even your fault. It's not even a skill thing. It's just that you rolled poorly. So I can't handle that. So what I found was when I played Gretchen, I don't care. With the Gretchen, or the Grotlings, I should say, with the little Grot boys, whenever you play with them, they're so bad that if you even just have the ball, it's an event. And if you're able to score, it is absolutely phenomenal. So that means that whenever you lose, it's not a big deal. You were always going to lose. And if you win, it's incredible. And I think they just create really fun stories on the board. They're really fun to play. So I love my little Grots, my little Gretchen. And yeah, that's why I only really like to play them so much. I don't like to play any of the teams that are competent or good. I like to play the most rubbish faction because it's just so much fun. Yeah, we're gonna end the poll in 1 more minute. If you want to get your vote in there, you got 1 more minute. If we meet you at that expo, can I do a fangirl scream and ask for a selfie? Yes, you can, by all means. That's no problem at all. I love meeting people at expos and stuff, so please do feel free to come over and chat. We'll talk about whatever you want. It's I love the UK. I love UKGE. I love going to expos. I've been at a few last year, and I'm really looking forward to UKGE. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna be there the whole weekend. I can't wait. Brum sounds like a 44,000-year-old town that did not care for the Romans. I don't think they did care for the Romans, actually. No, I don't think they did care for the Romans. Oh, we got 1 more minute. It's counting down for the votes. Oh, and it's really close. Yes, 49%. 50-50. We got a 50-50 situation, and that's where it ends. Wow. we got a 50-50. Are you looking forward to 11th edition Warhammer 40k? We got 50% hopium, 50% salt, it looks like. So we need to hear more information. I think we need to hear more, because it could be good, but unfortunately It's just sounded a bit like patch notey to me right now. So I'm not sure the 11th is going to be amazing, says Glenn Simpson, but based on where we're at now with 10th, the things they said sound like they should be mostly positive changes. It does sound like a lot of good quality of life changes. It does sound like a lot of good quality of life changes, for sure. I just feel like it's kind of like the opposite of Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, who are really reluctant to ever bring out a new edition of their game. In fact, they released a new edition of D&D very recently, and then they kind of pretended like it wasn't a new edition. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. You can use your old books. Just play the new... It's not a new edition of Dungeons & Dragons. It's just an update to existing Dungeons & Dragons. Whereas in Warhammer 40k, they're like, oh, we changed, we made it so that now when you're in terrain, you get a +1 to your speed. This is a new edition. Here we go, buy this box, right? They love it. They love it. So it's kind of funny how the different companies have these different attitudes towards towards how they monetize it. You're looking forward to new orcs, Alan Wong says. I'm looking forward to the new orc models. The new orcs will be cool. The new orcs will be cool. I think they deserve some time in the sun. Now, they're a little bit goofy, a little bit fun, little bit fun, but I kind of like that about them. Yes, Project V0, this is actually live, entirely live, as I speak. Look, I'm responding in live. For now, anyway, until I'm replaced by some sort of machine, some sort of Terminator machine of some kind. So it's more like 10.5 edition. Yeah, Red, to me, that's what it sounds like. It sounds more like a sort of, kind of like a, I feel like in 2029, when we get 12th edition, that'll be the big shift. Yeah. Because 3 years is a very short period of time anyway to do like a completely new radical reshift, right? Like 3 years isn't that long for a new edition. I'll be honest, as excited as I am for 11th 40k, I'm mostly looking forward to more Men of Iron, Vodkin, Ironkin, the more the merrier, says Kobold. Yeah, that's cool. For me, like, the most exciting part of the 11th edition reveal has been so far the new Imperial Guard models that are for 10th edition. So, I have so many Space Marines, but I was just looking at grabbing Old World Orc Boys. 31 for $90 is just too good, says C.R. Smith. I mean, sure. Though there is a lot of orcs out there, a lot of orc models. Maybe check out the Firefight Marauder models as well. I think they're quite cheap, and they're space orcs if you're looking at them for 40k. Dilaffin says BB was more competitive when your rules rip each other in the OG. I actually don't know. Oh, Blood Bowl. Yes. Okay, that's fair. I've seen, there's been some games of Blood Bowl where I've watched people just get kicked to death in Blood Bowl, and you're like, why are you kicking them to death? And they're like, oh, I just want to get the XP. You're like, damn, brutal. Like the Gretchen special rule was there were so many of them that they were so useless that you got more players than any other team because they could sneak onto the pitch. Because they're these little tiny little guys, and they literally were useless. They were like a 6+ to do anything. They sucked. I love them so much. The fun part of the Gretchen was you could be thrown around the map and stuff. So you just had these really crazy plays that were so risky. They were so unlikely to succeed if they ever rolled your way. It was just crazy. You never see it. Like when you get a goal as like a Gretchen, oh my God, forget about it. People lost their minds. I like the new Imperial Guard model. Seems like there's leaning towards World War II, but there was new Sisters model, so that's nice. Yeah, like I feel like the Sisters of model as a battle force feels pretty full to me. I actually don't think that they're missing really anything. Because I'm like the biggest fan of the big robots. I like the battle sisters stuff, you know. So I feel like as a model line, it's pretty much. I think we could use like some bikers or something. That'd be kind of cool for the Sisters of Battle. But otherwise, I think we're pretty much done. Gene Stealer Cultists, I feel like we could use like some rocket, like RPG squad, some anti-tank guys. But I kind of wish that the Gene Stealer Cultists were less Gene Stealers, less cultists, and more like a rebel force. Though would be kind of cool. I will be happy with Steel Legion, says Stephen McGrath. C.R. Smith says, question, do you repaint old models you've done or do you just leave them? I have about 1/5 of my collection that really aren't up to my current standards of painting. I leave them. It's very rare that I will touch up an old model. I got new models to paint. I got so many models I need to build and paint. I got like a pile of shame that is a room high. I've got a lot of stuff I need to paint. If something isn't up to... So the only time I will go back and I'll repaint anything is if I change like a color scheme. Really, to be honest, is like if I'm changing like a color scheme, I'll repaint something that way. But it's very rare that I'm like updating a color scheme on an army that I've already painted in some way. No, I don't. Tau07 says, no psychic phase, no 40k for me. You really love that psychic phase, huh? Because this was one of the things I remember when I went to Warhammer Fest before the launch of 10th edition. There was a lot of questions about the psychic phase. People really love the psychic phase. And it's strange to me that people get so attached to the psychic phase because as someone who never really used psychers, to me, the psychic phase always just felt like an ancillary kind of element of the game that didn't, I don't know, I didn't really feel like it ever added too much to me. Like most of the time in most of my games, it was just like, okay, we take initiative, bop past the psychic phase, then into movement just straight away. But no one I know really plays with psychers. Like no one was playing Zinch or anything. So, yeah. I have 60 tactical Space Marines from Horus Heresy I got on Black Friday. I need to build and paint, but it seems so intimidating to see CR Smith. I feel like you can, there's 2 ways you can go about it. I would recommend just taking it one step at a time. Just build a couple, build like 5 of them and go, I'm gonna get these 5 models done and just start there and work out how you're gonna paint them, paint those guys, have fun doing it. Don't even think about the rest of your army. Paint those 5 guys. And then from there, you know, then you could maybe paint another 5 guys. So you could move on to a different project, but just like get cracked into it a little bit. Don't get intimidated by the pile of shame at all. Don't let that get to you, because if that happens, you're just gonna be paralyzed forever. Better off just like take it one step at a time. Remember, there is no rush. There is no rush to this thing. You're not like on anybody else's time. This is a hobby for you. It's for fun. So just like, you know, sit back, enjoy the ride. Sit back and think England. Get those 5 guys done. That's it. And don't put yourself under any pressure to do it either, you know? Just get them done when you get, like, I'm sitting on a couple of armies, right? There's a couple of armies I'm working my way through, and I do them as the mood strikes me. Like, when I'm into Sisters of Battle, I have, like, 5 Zephyrim and 5 Seraphim I still have to do, I think, out of 20. And so, or 10 left, I think, maybe. But I'm gonna get to them when I get to them, basically. Like, I haven't painted any of my Sisters of Battle in like a year and a half or so, but eventually I'll be back in the mood to paint them, and so I'll paint them then. I'm working on an Armored Clash army, a Union army at the minute. I've got like half of that army painted. Every so often I go, I'm in the mood to paint something small, and I paint something small. Just take it as it comes. Yeah, it's pile of shame is just part of the hobby, you know? I think that you just manage it a little, but I manage it very kind of casually, basically. Glenn Simpson says, to bring back the second phase or work your cost, they'd have to redo data sheets. That was never going to happen on a soft reset edition change, maybe for 12, you know? And it's kind of like, yeah, I guess. You know, I guess. But I feel like work your cost should have been a change here. Like, why does it have to be a soft reboot change if why is it a new edition then, you know? Kraz says, I hope for StarCraft so we can have Warcraft. I really love to check out that StarCraft game. Like, I'm a big fan of StarCraft, bigger fan of Warcraft, it must be said, but I was watching StarCraft competitive play, like, since the early 2000s. I was really into StarCraft competitive, like, as a watcher, as a viewer, as opposed to a player. I'm rubbish at StarCraft. So I've been watching that game forever, like StarCraft and StarCraft 2. I've watched all the big massive, like, I used to watch Total Biscuit, like, commentate a bunch of those games. I watched all the big finals and tournaments and stuff like that, all the goosey games. So, like, I'm really into it, but for some reason I reached out to Archon asking them to be like, can I please check out StarCraft, and they never got back to me. And then I was like, oh, then I guess they mustn't be reaching out to like influencers, I suppose. But then I saw a bunch of other people got the boxes, and I was like, what the heck? And the problem is I can't buy everything that I would like to check out. Wargaming is unfortunate. I just need to get review copies of games. I can't like afford them, so yeah, so I don't know. I'd love to cover the game. I'd really love to check it out. I'm planning on doing a video at some stage in the next couple of months, basically talking about all the sci-fi games that I think are great competitors to like Warhammer. You know, kind of like one of those, hey, look, there's a new edition of Warhammer 40k coming out. That's cool, but you maybe would be interested in knowing that there are other games that might give you what you want more effectively, right? So I'm probably going to be talking about like Firefight, maybe Blackout, Armored Clash. I was hoping to talk about StarCraft there, if it was a good game. If I play it, it's a good game. So yeah, but we'll see. I'm gonna maybe I'll try to reach out to Archon again or get them. Yeah. Got magic card piles of shame, got plastic piles of shame, such as life, says Dendo. Yeah, it is. Working on 100 boys, says our artist turn. 100 boys? Call this guy Epstein, cause holy shit. Don't think I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, that's a lot of orcs to be working on. That's a lot of orcs. It sure is a lot of orcs. I do not envy you that task, because I have this huge Imperial Guard army that took me a really long time to paint, and I don't know how I got through it. Probably a lot of crack, probably. I don't know. I've been streaming for like over 2 hours. I'm starting to lose it a little. So yeah, good luck to you, basically. I think for me, I have a lot of orcs, and I think contrast paints really saved the day with them. It took me forever to paint them, but with the green, I think some of the green contrasts are just perfect. Blackout, I've been wanting to grab models for as proxies for Votan, says Cobalt. I think one of the issues you might have there is I think that the Blackout models are all true scale, right? So they're gonna look a little bit weird for the Votan. They're gonna look a little bit dinky. Plus, they're very pricey, I think, as an army product. I think maybe fine as a skirmish game, but to bulk out an army would be a lot of models. A lot of models to buy. That's a lot of green paint. That is a lot of green paint. That is a lot of green paint. We're playing a lot of Epic Warpath, says Red. I think I was checking out Epic Warpath. And actually, I've been looking into Warmaster recently. I've been hoping to check out a little bit of Warmaster, but I ordered a little army for it, and it's being printed as we speak. It was lovely. It was like £25 for an army, so I was like, okay, I'm in, I guess. So I'm waiting for that to be 3D printed and then sent to me, and then I'll check out Warmaster. And from what I understand, the Epic Warpath rules are broadly similar, where you got this like command roll and stuff, so that's pretty cool. It's a lot of sheer determination to paint over 100 guardsmen. I think that's what I did. That, and I did it over time, right? I didn't do it all in one night. I kind of painted them. I got really into this guardsman for a while. I got really into guardsmen for a while. So yeah, but it was a lot of painting, and in fact I can't remember it at all. So it must have been very traumatic for me. I can't remember painting them, but it's like I've got about I don't know. I've never actually costed out my guardsmen. You know, I don't want to, I suppose, because it's like 20 years of collecting, so it's a lot of them. I've repainted all my minis from contrast except for the orcs, because the green contrast came out great enough. Yeah, the green contrast came out really good. I really like contrast, but there are some contrasts that work better than others. So there's some contrast that I don't like, where I'll paint the model, and then I'll have done it in contrast, and I'll look at it and I'll be like, man, it's too streaky. I'm not very good with this. And then I'll do like a block in like a traditional color. And the nice part about that is you get like, because you've got the contrast paint, it's almost like whenever you're painting a model, and if you spray a model white and then you paint over it, you get like these little parts where you've missed, and you can really see it because it's white. Whenever you have like contrasted it first, you get past that, and I think that, which is really cool. Ditto says Warmaster is no fooling the best way to play Warhammer. It sounds really cool. I think the problem with Warmaster is it's like a smaller scale version of Warhammer Fantasy, and so it's a hard buy-in to get people into it, because people want to build, they want to paint they want to paint these models, they want to paint this scale of model. They want like person-sized, essentially. So, by the way, really nice model. My Bushido miniatures. Oh, Bushido, beautiful miniatures. So people want that scale, whereas Warmaster is just so small. It's these little tiny guys. It's hard to convince people to play them, for sure, but it sounds really, really fun. I really love the idea of it kind of being zoomed out. It feels more like a Total War game. I need to learn how to use speed paints. Bought a big box, not knowing what that is, says Kraz. I mean, they're pretty easy, honestly. Like, you just kind of paint and go and see how it works. Did Legions Imperialis get any reveals at Adepticon? None that I saw, to be honest. None that I saw, like, at all. I don't think. We can search together. We can search together. I am a river to my people, and we can search together. Let's do it. Okay, the Aeronautica Imperialis got a animation I'm not allowed to watch. That was it. Now that said, the show isn't over. I think they're going to be showing some new stuff. People have been saying ogres. I've been hearing ogres, but I've been hearing ogres for a long time. People have been talking about ogres since before I was born, it feels like. So is Legion Imperialis dead? I'm not sure. I don't really know enough about Legion Imperialis to comment, really. We're playing Bushido tomorrow. Fun game. We just got back into it. Bushido is a lot of fun. Bushido is a blast. I really like Bushido. It's a very good game. I'm a big fan of Bushido. I'd recommend Bushido. Pretty positive about Bushido. My only criticism of Bushido is that it's quite pricey to get into. It's like £73 for 9 models, so it's quite pricey. But the models are really pretty. They're really beautiful. It's a small indie team. You know, not in the kind of Games Workshop way that we like to do. We like to joke around sometimes about it, but like with Bushido, it's actually a small indie team who, you know, are creating beautiful sculpts and really fun, strong game design as well. Really, really good. Denostar says, I detest painting and yet I'm in this hobby. You're not alone. I think a lot of people really hate painting, but there's some people who really hate building models, and there's some people who hate playing the games. Typically, the latter is someone who has not played a lot of the games, because there's so many games out there. But yeah. Painting models isn't always the funnest thing. For me, the hardest part of painting a model is trying to figure out what to paint them. I find that I dither a lot whenever I'm trying to figure out the right painting, like what color to paint them. And that really screws me over. It really screws me over, and it takes me forever. And then if I lose my momentum, I lose my momentum. Artist Turn, $6. Thank you very much for the donation. Says, been enjoying your videos for a while, so happy to catch a live stream. That's really cool. Thank you very much, Artist Turn. Thank you very much. That's really kind of you. Boom. Thank you. Love you. Thanks. Omnis Sphinx says they're going to retire all the 10th ebooks through Armageddon. Well, they said that the books are fine, that they can still be, they're still relevant. They can still be used, is what they said. They can still be used in the new edition of Warhammer 40k. So we'll see. We'll see. But I mean, they're gonna have to eventually, right? Oh wait, the ebooks. So all the 10th ebooks. Is this related to the app change? Oh, so you're not saying like the books aren't going to be usable in the new edition? It's going to be more so that the actual ebooks are just not going to be able to be like accessed anymore. CR Smith says, question, have you heard of this game called Blood and Plunder? It looks pretty cool. I wonder if it could be used in 40k. I wonder. I have not heard of this game, Blood and Plunder. CR Smith, would you like to tell me about it? No, I love Blood and Plunder. I get paid money by Blood and Plunder though. Not a lot, but I get a little bit of cash to shill them. So you have to take my word for it, or my, like, what's the word for it? I take what I say with under suspicion, I guess, you know, because I'm one of them shilled influencers, I guess. But I'm a fan of Blood and Plunder. I've been a fan of Blood and Plunder for years though, like even before I even talked with Firelock Games. I was a fan of Blood and Plunder. I did review the game a couple of years ago, and yeah, I give my honest appraisal, which was it's a really fun game. I really like it. And then since then, I have had ads. One video a month, I do a little Firelock Games ad, and I'm really happy to do it because I think it's a great game. I think that it's really good. I love it. I love the. I'm not the biggest fan of the boat combat, but I really love the amphibious combat. I like the land-based combat, and I love the reload mechanic and stuff. I just want super. I say this every single time. People get sick of me saying this. I want undead pirates. I want like skeletons. I want skeleton pirates, and I want ghosts, and I want goblins. I want mermaids. I want like a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. Now they are doing a Firelock Games, who make Blood and Plunder, are doing a fantasy game, Brigands of Arja, which does look really cool, but it's very Conan inspired, very sword and sorcery. Whereas I really want like a Jack Sparrow kind of do, you know, like you're kind of leaping from ship to ship, and there's like ghosts and skeletons and stuff. I just think that'd be really cool. Like there's no game that I know of that really does that very well, which is like a sort of like haunted Caribbean pirate game. I think that would be really awesome. But give it to me. And I think that the Firelock Games guys would be the perfect people to do it, because like they have a historian. There's like a historian on staff, so I think that they could really pull from like the real legends and create a really cool iteration of it. Make it happen. James Deeds, I love that name. James Deeds says, I have tons of minis, but I haven't played in years. The painting is very therapeutic. Very meditative, I think. It's good sometimes just to get focused on a task. She says, painted by orcs in one go? Okay, Gazgul Thraka, 30 Meganobs, 20 Grots, 90 orcs, 11 orcs with jetpacks, 5 orcs with flamethrower, 3 Killacan, 3 Deathcopters. You painted that what? How long? How long did it take you? Was it a night? Did you do it in a single night? There's no way. There's no way. You're rolling in the euros with all your influence, he says, die laughing. I wish. I wish. I'm so cold. Kobold says, yes, I want Undead Pirates, but my holder for not looking into Blood and Plunder. Yeah, I would love a fantasy version of it. I really need to speak to them about that. I keep on meaning to do so. What is that game, Carnival, says Kel? Carnival is a really awesome game where you have a lot of parkour. You leap from rooftop to rooftop. It has this awesome mechanic where it's set in fantasy Venice, where there's like, you play as the church or like the mafia or the deep ones from Lovecraft, or there is evil doctors and there's vampires and stuff. And it's a skirmish level game. You're in Venice, but there's a lot of parkouring, so you like leap from rooftop to rooftop. And they have this really cool mechanic where when you do a successful jump, you then get to make another free jump as a free action. So you can like chain jumps around the map and get really far by like jumping and doing all this athletic stuff. And it's just so cool. It's so cool. You got like Assassin's Creed characters basically, like leaping off rooftops with like daggers to assassinate knights who've got like really heavy armor and like really hard to kill. But if you land on someone from above and attack them, they don't get any armor saves. So they don't get to use their amazing armor against you. You could just like land on them with your dagger and assassinate. It's so cool. What a fun game. What a fun game. It does something really special. CR Smith says, Vampire Coast has that in Total War Warhammer. That would be an awesome Age of Sigmar faction. It would be. I would love to see Vampire Coast. Vampire Coast would be so cool. Shej says, War Master is really good, but there is a design flaw in the fallback mechanism. That means all units tend to fight in columns rather than lines. Oh, that's unfortunate. Although I'll probably just be fighting in lines. Honestly, I've also heard of, I buy the War Master armies, but I'm gonna probably use them not only for War Master. I'm gonna try out a bunch of different small scale fantasy games, because so far I've tried out Armored Clash, and I was a really big fan of Armored Clash, and then I want to try Drop Zone Commander as well. I know there's a new edition of that coming out at some stage, so I'm kind of waiting for that. And I want to try out Epic Warpath, and I want to try out so far, I mean, like, they've all been sci-fi games, you know? So I want to try it, I think, for the fantasy side, see some of those games. Like Horde of Many Things, I've heard, is pretty good. I've heard that's pretty good. What's the skill for Blood and Plunder compared to 40k Age of Sigmar? I think it's 28 millimeters. So it's a little bit smaller. It is a little bit smaller, I think. Not, like, massively smaller, but, like, they're more, you know, human-sized than like a Space Marine, basically. Yeah. Whew. My goodness. Vampire Coast has that in Total War Warhammer. That would be an awesome Age of Sigmar faction. Yeah. Yeah, it would be. It really would be. I think there needs to be more Undead Pirate stuff. It feels like in the cultural milieu, we've kind of lost that a little, haven't we? We've kind of lost that. Sadly. Could you use them for, like, guardsmen? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, actually. I don't have any to hand is the problem. That's my big issue. You could probably use them as guardsmen, because the modern guardsmen these days are actually quite realistically scaled, you know? The guardsmen that got a little bit smaller, got a little less chunky. And the guardsmen, the Blood and Plunder models are hard plastic. A lot of them are hard plastic and customizable. There's a lot of like resin and metal ones from the older boxes, but if you get any of the new models, I think most of those, any of the like the kind of like the ones in the boxes, they're gonna be hard plastic these days. Just double check that though. But that means you could customize them pretty well. I'm trying to find if there's any online pictures of like the scale, but I'm not sure. But the models look great. I'd have to put them beside each other, but I don't have them to hand. I don't have them to hand, so I cannot help you. I cannot assist you in this quest. But it would be cool to have like a pirate guardsman army. That'd be pretty neat. I love the way, like, I love the customized armies for sure. Although I am a basic bitch, and my guardsman army is a Acadian force. But I painted them differently, and my lore is they're different, so There you go. Because whenever I first made my army, I made them Canadian because it was like 2006, 2005. And so that was it was like that or Catacan. And I did not fancy Catacan. Didn't like the models at the time. It was the exact same models that are available today. So I went for Canadian. So whenever so my force is just Canadian now, I guess. But basic generic guardsman, you know? Okay, I think that's gonna have to be me. You can hear my voice is starting to go. I think we've achieved what we set out to do today, which was to have fun. Talk a little about the wargaming, see what's going on at Adepticon, be really jealous of everybody that's there in person, because that's me. I'm just jealous of people who are there in person. I'd really love to go to Adepticon. God damn it. Looking forward to UKGE though, as always. If you are there, don't feel free to hang out. Come over and say hello. Say hello to me, because I love chatting to fellow wargamers. There will be a new video out covering a lot of the topics we talked about today, but with more detail, more juicy goodness, and with a big old twist, a big twist in the tail. So do be sure to check out that as well. Do check out the video and check out my other channel, Dungeons and Discourse, where I talk about kind of like RPG stuff. I talk about RPG things and TTRPG stuff and Hasbro and Dungeons and Dragons and all sorts of different games. And also do check out my Patreon. It's only thanks to Patreon that I can actually create content at all. Thanks to everybody who donated today. Thanks to everybody who chatted. Thanks to everybody who hung out. It was a ton of fun. We'll have to do this more. Red Warning Life, thank you very much for the £10 donation. Thanks for the hobby chat. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Love you. And I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. It was really cool to hang out. I need to do this again, actually. Let's make this a thing. Let's start to do this more often. Maybe a bit later in the evening, maybe for the Americans. I think, because I think that's one of the issues is that, especially on weekdays, I think for American audience, it's like it's too early for them. But thanks so much, everybody. I hope you all have a lovely week and a weekend, and I hope you're all having fun and enjoying your hobby. I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye. I swear I can time this. It's going to be impossible. Thank you for the 5 gift memberships there, New Squalor. It's very kind of you. Thank you so much.